Oh, we're good on the sound.
I sure hope
Oh,
so,
we're
because we're
not
started.
real good on the sound.
Why, what's wrong?
It's a little low. Well, maybe, I don't know. Yeah, we're already on and we're sitting here adjusting stuff. We're still adjusting the engineering side of things. First thing before Kim gets started here is Dirt Road Landing super chat. Thank you.
Woo! Thank you so
That's
much.
a way to start out an evening.
Yeah.
And
Buy more shrimp. There you go. That's generous.
the next thing I'll say is all it says High Dirt or DRL. If you prefer, and I see DRL, that's the abbreviation for daytime running lamps, which are the lights that stay on in the daytime. You don't have a choice. And so I see DRL. It's like, oh, okay, I got to remember. There's two things: uh, 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 daytime running lamps and dirt road landing. Pretty cool. Okay, Cam.
Olive is here. Olive, welcome to the stream. Mexican Spec, our moderator, is here. Mexican Spec, welcome to the stream. Thank you for being our moderator. Sometimes I forget to thank the moderators. So thank you for being a moderator, Mr. Mexican Spec.
I'm looking to see what you're sitting on because you're so much taller than I am. I know you didn't grow that much.
I'm taller than you.
But
Usually
normally we're kind of like,
yeah, usually I play with the angles a little bit, so I look like the petite little woman. All right. Dirt Road Landing says, I just watched your short video on how you made shrimp and eggs. I'll have to try that. It looks good. It is good. You should try it.
there's several renditions of that, and it's just what I have at the moment, and I throw it in a frying pan and do it. So I could do another one, I guess.
Oh, Olive says shrimp allergies are cruel because you only get bad reactions when you start to like it.
Oh, like a
Oh,
lot of food.
I have a lot of bad food allergies, so I there's so many times where I'm out somewhere and someone's serving something that looks really yummy, and I'm like, I know that you put things in there that I cannot eat. Mexican Spec says hello. Kim, are you better? Better is like I'm not all better, but I'm not as bad as I was, so that's a good thing. Um,
She rests without groaning. She just rests a lot, but that's good.
uh,
Kim, there's some lighting that's different because I'm a redneck tonight again,
you know,
and I
the
don't know what the
your
problem
low
is.
light is out tonight,
Oh, yeah, that's okay.
so just try not to be so red.
Hey, Mexican Spec says, Buff, you should have been on Tony's live on Sunday. I was the only mod that showed up, and you were on live. I was there. I just didn't make many comments, but I was there for most of it. Anyway, Kim, I interrupted again. Sorry.
Oh, have no fear, the Dougster is here. Welcome, Dougster Wolverine Garage. Potato, potato, potato. Everybody, put your potatoes in chat to celebrate the entrance of the Dougster. Dean Stevenson is here. You already said. Bruce Culchin
I didn't.
is here. Welcome, Bruce and Dean. And yeah, everybody's filing in quickly. I better do my introduction before stuff starts to happen and I forget. Hello and welcome to our regular Tuesday night live stream here at Buff Del Campo channel. On Tuesdays, we start a little earlier and we are in the studio. Our magical studio gives us green screen capabilities so we can put up visually stimulating pictures and sometimes even moving video. No, not usually, just mostly pictures, but you can send in pictures and we'll put them up and talk about them or just stand in awe of your pictures amazingnesses. And anyways, so you can find my channel, Kim Fixes Things, elsewhere on YouTube and Facebook. I should probably get an Instagram. Somebody's going to snatch it away from me. And I try and fix things on my channel. Sometimes I fix things. A lot of times I just put in a lot of time and effort on things that are marginally better than they were to start with. And other times, like a Subaru, it is parked in the yard, never to move again. I am here with your regular host, namesake of this channel, Mr. Buff Del Campo. We are in Del Campo's studio, and We are here to entertain you. This is a community stream. So, as people file in or leave for the night later on, we like to greet them and say goodnight when they leave because it is about community when we are in the studio. In the garage, we work on stuff, and in long form, we are, talking about us specifically. But when you are here, we like to interact with you. That's what it's all about. So, if you are watching after the stream, you might want to see if you can pull up the chat to the side so you can sort of watch what's happening, and we will try and clearly read the names of people and the comments that they're leaving. So, if you can't look, you can at least hear what the interactions are about. But it's better if you can look because it's not a podcast because we do visual stuff. Lester LeSabre is here. Welcome to the stream. See, we're greeting people as they come in. That's what it's about. And Mexican Spec, if he has his hands free, sometimes he's not in front of sometimes he's on a little screen and it's harder to put in links to people. But our moderators will put in links to your channel if you're making content and you have something you want to promote. Like Dougster just put up a very entertaining video about a windmill
I
and
missed
the
that.
story behind it. If you haven't seen it, go check out Dougster's Wolverine Garage. And his video has very little to do with anything automotive, but it's very entertaining. And I love to see it when people are doing success. Oh, and he reached a milestone. I think he got 200 subscribers for his channel, which I remember when we got 200 subscribers on this channel. It hasn't been that long.
When you have 200, they come in like one at a time.
One at a time.
And they're hard-earned subscribers. And it used to feel so good. We get one subscriber, and I go, we got one more. We're 201, and yeah, it's when you only have that, it's tough. So if any of you haven't subscribed to Dougster,
check him out. He's working hard and he's an entertaining guy. When we met him in person at No Name Nationals, that was thrilling. And yeah, he's just a likable guy. And I think that there are good things to come. He's got several projects in the driveway as well that are pretty interesting. I think his wife has a Volkswagen Beetle that they've worked on in the past. And anyways, help him out. Tim is here. Welcome to the stream, Tim. Hello. Mexican Spec is talking about Tony's Live a little bit, and it reminded me that Tony's Live, the chat just zooms by. Like it goes so fast. There's so many people in there. So Mexican Spec, you've got my respect to be able to manage any of that. That's rough.
You know what happened? I fell asleep in the afternoon, but I put on Tony's right when he came on. Then I dozed off, and then I woke up and I could hear Mexican Spec's voice, and I'm like, "Oh, that's weird." And I look over at the screen, and Tony's got 3 people in there. One of them's Mexican Spec, and it's like, wow, he's on there live. So I did watch it. I just didn't. I got to get out of bed to go there to type, so I just watched it from just a distance enough I couldn't quite reach my keyboard, but I was there.
It's getting away from us already.
Yeah, I know.
That's okay. The link to the Buff Del Campo email, buffdelcampo@gmail.com. It scrolled by just a few minutes ago. If you have pictures that you want to share with us so we can put them on screen and talk about them, you can send them to that email, and we will make sure when you send an email, right, that you include your screen name, because we might not recognize your...
Yeah, if it says Joe Smith and on here you're, like BLM or something, I don't know who you are, you know?
We don't know. So help us out a little bit.
Yeah.
And by putting them there, you're obviously giving us some permission to put them up, but that doesn't guarantee that we'll put them up. If you send us naked ladies, we probably won't put them up. We do review those photos before we send them up. Wait, there was something up here that I want to get before it's gone. Okay. Mexican Spec says, can't you put a small Datsun engine in the Subaru? People do that here. It could happen, but I'm probably not going to. The car has over 200,000 miles on it, and there are other projects that I'd rather work on. Like, no matter what I do to it, it will have a very small value for and it's not the content that I'm wanting. There's other people who are making Subaru content, and I think they do it really well, and I just don't want to be in that camp. I
Well, and
enjoy working on the old
we're
Mopars.
buried in projects right
Yeah,
now to bring on another project
we absolutely have to pick and
with
choose.
stuff that we don't have
I
anything in
should have never
stock.
brought that Subaru home.
Yeah, why'd you bring the Subaru home?
It was a trade. I traded a motorcycle that I
Oh, that's
couldn't
right.
ride because my shoulders hurt too much. I can't ride a motorcycle with a helmet and stuff like that. It's no good. So I traded the motorcycle that was sitting in the shed and I was worried it was going to start to rot. So I traded it for a car and I thought I could fix this car. And I was wrong. I could not. I had the motor out twice and it's just,
Well, you could probably fix it. You
I
couldn't
could.
fix it with the stuff you had, and you were trying to do it with the stuff you had.
Yeah, it just,
I'm sorry, I'm not looking at the screen right now.
no, that's,
I'm looking through I'm
that's
looking
it.
through files. I'm
Okay, I'm
sorry.
going to quickly catch up here. Ba-bum. I should start carrying cameras more again. My own cars aren't much to see, but there is time of year people bring out there's fun stuff around here. Olive, absolutely. It's always nice to have pictures, even, or you could send them to us, or you could have your own content, or you could just enjoy the pictures later on. Um, Dirt Road Landing bought a multimeter after I saw your short video on checking the acidity level in old coolant. That was really cool. Yeah, I had never heard of it until he taught me that. And it's just a
See,
diagnostic. Like, does my
see,
coolant need
can you put
replaced?
us down at the corner?
I can. I'm going to make us small, everybody.
Because I'm taking
Check
requests
this
on
out. Oh,
Mexican Spec asked for something, but it was and it's the photo's way at the bottom of the photo, unfortunately. Oh, there we go. Yeah. He said you should get a picture of a marlin, so I put a marlin up there.
marlin. Is that like the big brother of a barracuda? Small brother of a
Except it's
barracuda.
AMC. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so I know we're way behind because
Yeah, I'm gonna miss some
well,
stuff. You
yeah,
guys
we're
can say
way,
stuff
way,
again
way,
if we
way
miss a
behind
topic
in the
that you want to
chat.
talk about. I gotta just jump forward.
Yep.
Rob's Rods and Streetcars is here. Howdy, everybody. Buff and Kim, welcome to the stream. Um,
Man, that thing I put up there's already gone. Yeah, it's streamed by already. I put my email up there, but
you did.
we'll get it. I put it up twice. I'll put it up again in a
We'll
few
put it up
minutes.
again there later, and you could send it on a day that we're not streaming, and then we'll save them up until you're here.
But I am paying attention to my email better tonight, I hope.
Now, is a marl? I mean, that's obviously dropped to the
Yes.
ground, but is that body highly customized, or is that what
No,
those look like?
it's just like Olive says, it's shaved. The chrome is gone, and the like the taillight, whatever trim was on the taillights is missing, and they've smoothed it all out. But no, that's the body style. It was a big fastback based on the Rambler Classic, and they made it for I
Oh,
think 4 years,
so
and
it's an AMC,
AMC. Yep.
and then it
Ah,
looks like it has a great big cowl on the hood.
yeah. Obviously somebody's been customizing that thing, but it's
Yeah,
basically it's the right
they
shape.
probably put 10 years of customizations to get the car looking like that.
What's up, suckers? So Slant
Oh,
Daily
Slant
says,
Daily Garage is here. Welcome to the stream. Professor P, I just did a video on our puckered oil pan gasket, the Slant 6 that came out of my Dart. It was an oil pan gasket that was leaking oil. So had I known that, we might have been able to fix it at the track. But I'm kind of glad that I wasn't laying under that car all night that first day, because that would have really impacted things. But we could have stopped the leak. We could have. And yeah, somebody did a terrible job installing a pan gasket. We're glad that you showed up. And then we're hard at work. So I wasn't going to talk too much about it, but since Professor P is here, I went out to the garage last night and spent 4 hours porting on the Slant 6, and it is going to be really good. Really good.
Kim, can you adjust that? You like slid the
No.
picture way up because that other picture was at the bottom.
Every picture is going to be of a different
the-
car?
well, this is one Mexican Spec just sent in his email to me, and he sent several pictures of the same car, so I'm gonna put that one up for now.
That's a nice pace, sir. I don't think I would want a pacer.
He's just telling me now. If I sent you pics of a gorgeous pacer, it's already up there, Mexican spec. I caught that. Thank you.
Professor P, I did catch your video of some oiling modifications, and that seemed okay. So I'm not going to say excessive because I've seen how fast your cars run, and I guess if you're running your engine that hard, but when is those types of modifications going to be necessary for a slant six? Because I've never seen a slant six blow a main cap. A rod maybe, but generally the rods that go bad in slant sixes, if my understanding is correct, is like the number 6 rod, because all the oil slaps back there and then it pounds on the piston, because it's like my understanding of where failures happen in slant sixes is based on much more stock slant sixes, probably not ones that are turbocharged or nitrous injected. So I guess it's interesting to see the things that can be done. And I'm guessing that you're also applying things that you found in other types of high powered engines, and you're just throwing it at the slant six to make sure it holds together. If anyone else is interested in Slant 6 stuff and you have not already subscribed to Slant Daily Garage, you absolutely should be, because they are leaps and bounds ahead of me in terms of modifying and running Slant 6s hard. And then they have the Plan Z Dart, which is incredibly lightened, that came from Uncle Tony's garage, and they are going to, I guess, put it together and run it hard this year. I wanna like be like, well, I'll challenge you, but like my car will not be as fast as the Plan Z Dart because it's heavier and it doesn't have as much horsepower. And you've got me by cubic dollars, and not so much by cubic dollars, but
It's a different car. You're just gonna drive on the street, and
yeah.
you're gonna take it on trips and do stuff like that. And once in a while, you run it down a drag strip for the fun of it.
Well,
It's not a racer.
Something he said in his video that was very interesting was, I have them stacked up like cordwood. He literally has like a dozen slant sixes stuffed under the benches there. And it's not really cubic dollars, it's time invested. Over time, he has put, sweat equity into his collection of automotive stuff, and I do not have that much time. I actually had a bunch of slant six stuff about 15 years ago, and it all is gone. For reasons that I don't care to bring back up again because it's painful. But anyways, it's all gone. So I'm starting again, and I'm only my second year in. We've built 2. Well, we built 1, and we're building our second one now. So
before it scrolls by,
go ahead.
Daryl B, good evening.
Oh, welcome to the stream, Daryl.
Yeah, because it's going, and he's going to disappear, and we missed him. So I'm sorry.
Also,
that wasn't that the video Slant Daily had? And I was in my room, and I watched it. And then I go, Kim, you got to see this video. And she's like, I watched it. So
we're both watching it randomly at the exact same
time. Yeah.
The other thing about if you're not familiar with Professor P of Slant Daily Garage, he is routinely on Wednesday nights streaming with Dallas Brown of the AHRA, the American Hot Rod Association, and they do the most in-depth tech talk live of anyone that I know. They get deep in the weeds on some tech topics, and if you have a question about a specific make and model of classic vehicle or engine, they are a great resource to go to, and they will usually be able to get to viewers' questions. So if you check them out at AHRA, American Hot Rod Association channel on Wednesday nights. So, Buddy Carfano, I haven't seen white walls on a car in a long time. Well, sometimes it really brings out the classicness.
Yeah, that's one of, if you just came in, that's one of Mexican Spec's cars, and he sent me an email with a bunch of pictures. I'm gonna.
He says, "Find a flaw, I dare you." That's nice. Go to Instagram, search for Mexican Spec, and he collects Mexican spec cars that have been either well cared for or refurbished in Mexico, and he helps people to import them to other countries.
Well, and the thing about Mexican cars is they're like an American car, but there's some differences in some of the accessories and some of the styling and but they're in a dry climate, so you don't see many cars with any rust. They're like clean cars, just like Southern Arizona, really clean cars, and uh, and
I think Mexico's the new Cuba, huh?
that's a well Cuba is surrounded by ocean, so they get all this rusty stuff,
Oh,
but in Mexico, it's a dry climate, so the rust it's not like living in the Northeast or in the Midwest of the U.S. where they consider floors that have little holes in them okay. There's no holes. It's all fresh stuff. I'm sorry, I'm running on when you're talking. That's
the
kind of
flexi hose.
well.
You
That might
lose.
it
You
might be
lose
all.
half a point for the flexi post. Speaking of points, oh my goodness!
Don't be taking people's points.
Not
Oh,
channel points.
you were
Dirt road landing. You
oh
get a point for being
ye-
here first tonight
okay.
without being too first. Okay, and then at let's see who's closest without going over. Is also dirt road landing 659.
Well, and also seven. Who's that? Dirt Road Landing.
Alum, Alum is the next person. So
Seven. Huh?
Alum, you hear the first comment.
So she gets a point.
Yeah, Alum, you get a point. Dirt road landing, you get a point. Okay, I gotta go back down. Okay, is the passenger door bigger?
Yes.
The selling price without travel is 8,700. That is cheap.
It buffered. What buffered? Are we buffering again already?
Oh, I don't know.
I hope not.
Let's see if I can get it to tell me.
Yeah, I don't. The the studio in the shop is a little different than the studio here in the studio. Whoops. So I have a hard time. Oh, there it is down there. It surely doesn't look like it, but I don't know.
Sure doesn't look buffered to me.
It's a buffering issue.
I haven't dropped
No
any.
buffer's blameless. So I don't know. Yes, it buffered for a few seconds. Okay, so we got it. Yeah, now we have that we can look at.
Well, it didn't drop any frames and it seems to have recovered, so it was just a glitch.
Okay. Yeah, when I see up at the shop, we have a buffering problem that comes and it goes, and then it's okay. When it shows up, it's bad, and we don't really know the source. And we got an idea what the source is. We're probably going to replace the computer up there because it's marginal for the software we have running.
Danny Boyd said the only flaw I can spot is that HEI distributor ignition. I saw it too, Danny Boyd. I don't know if it's considered a flaw, but like that, come on, that doesn't go on there.
Okay, Mexican spec. I'll get a better picture of the interior.
Keep your AMC all Duraspark. Yeah, that seems legit. Like, why would, well, a good HEI, that's a cheap HEI. You can tell because it's the blue cap one. A good HEI is a superior system because the coil doesn't go through a wire before it goes into the cap, but only very marginal. Anyways, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. We're not going to talk about the HEIs again. We've talked about them a lot.
Yeah, I'm Dan. I'm pretty aware it's on our end. We just don't know where it is. I got fiber coming in the house, and we've never had problems with dropouts. And recently, we've had a couple of problems. And then there's a link from the house to the shop. So my guess is when it drops out in the house for a second or two, like it just did, it really interrupts what's going on at the shop through, because there's another link. So I don't know. Probably got too many people in the neighborhood on the fiber now. Don't know.
You know, we never had a problem until that hurricane, and I'm wondering if it is.
Hurricane went anywhere near us.
Yeah, but I don't know where our link goes to.
Yeah, who knows?
It could go to a big city out east, and there could be a problem with the connection between here and there, or they could be rerouting around a hub, You never know. There is complexities that you can never imagine going on with the internet. It is a miracle. It's a miracle.
It's a
It's
miracle.
amazing. It is amazing. It's magic at the least. Okay. Pacer with a turbo 440 Mopar. Who's
Why?
done that? Yeah, you know who was it who was it that just made a pacer? They made it pink with lightning and they put a big like 60 LS in it and sent it to do LS Fest burnouts.
This pacer here that Mexican Spec sent us the pictures. This is too nice to mess up. I mean, the thing to do with this is just keep it up and treat it nicely.
I mean, somebody has
Pretty nice,
really,
pretty
really
nice car.
invested a lot. If you look at how much it would cost to do a restoration like this on a car that you pulled out of the weeds or something like that, there's no contest. This is cheap, actually.
Oh,
You know,
hopes it has. I'm gonna pull this away and this away. Does it have AC?
it does not.
It does not. See, I've noticed that in Mexico. A lot of cars don't have AC, yet it's pretty darn warm down there. And just they didn't have it in a lot of cars.
I mean, what is that? A 258? Is
Probably.
the AMC a 258
There
for the
were
little car like that? And with a nice two-barrel carburetor like the one that's on it, that car will go, get up and go. Like it's not going to be a slug. I mean, it's not going to be a drag car, but
I didn't
it would
notice.
get up and go
I
pretty
didn't
well.
notice the carburetor on it.
Yeah, that's not a factory carburetor. The factory carburetor would be like a little one barrel. That is a that's like the two barrel version of the one sitting on the counter in the kitchen.
Hmm.
What is that? A Motorcraft? It's got a Motorcraft two barrel carburetor on it. It could be a 282.
Is it?
What's the defining characteristic that tells us
Well,
it was
it's a there's a 232 and a 258 AMC engines, but I think in Mexico there was one more, and I just don't know what it is.
You know, we're car people. When I can go in on the kitchen
Yeah,
table
go into the
and
kitchen.
pull the same carburetor as is on that car.
Well, this is a
off of
4100, and that's a 2100.
Yeah, right. There it is. See, you can see it matches up. It matches up the.
Yeah, it's a 2100 Autolite on that
See,
AMC.
because it's got the same pumper.
Oh,
Oh,
so you had a 282 down there. Yeah, it might be a 282. It's something bigger than a 258. I know that. So this is the carburetor I won.
oh, Jeffro brought this to us from Jeff from Two Hacks brought this to us at No Name Nationals.
He put it up and he goes, "What carburetor is this?" And there were a bunch of guesses. They were all wrong, and I went, "Oh, that's a 4100 Autolite." So I just put it 4100 Autolite. He goes, "So you win the carburetor." So he brought it to No Name Nationals. I really like those things because that's the 2100 and the 4100 Autolites are what I ran when I was young. So you still get a rebuild
We need to
kit for
put
it.
that on your slant six.
No, you know what?
So I can have my carburetor back.
My next car, and I saw one today, Mexican Spec had up, but it's expensive. It's too nice for me, and it's too expensive. It's it's a Fox body Mustang with the front end I really like, but the back end has got that bubble window, which I don't really like, but that wouldn't be a deal breaker. But it's too nice a car, and it's too much money for me. I have to find something that's less nice, and I'll find something. What I'll probably do is end up with a Fairmont, and then I'll build an engine and put the carburetor on. So now I got to buy a carburetor. I got to buy a car for my carburetor. Does that make sense?
Yes. You know, though, Olive, if a car doesn't have a heater, adding heat to a car is one of like adding air is kind of complicated, but adding heat, like running engines make heat. They make a lot of heat all over the place. Adding a heater is kind of
It
it's
takes up
not too
takes
bad.
up less space and it's a simpler installation, but you
Yeah.
still got to go find the pieces and parts.
Well,
But
yes, but
yeah,
if I had to choose between adding like cruise control, air conditioning, what other features I guess a radio, I guess A radio is pretty easy to do, so I
Oh,
guess that wouldn't be a big deal. But
here's a picture I
you
gotta
know,
show.
adding
Here's
a
a picture.
heater, the fan is harder than the heat itself. But
Okay,
don't ask me to replace a heater core because I do not want to have to stand on my head underneath a dashboard, take a zillion screws. What's the joke about the heater core? They put the heater core on the
oh,
assembly line and then it starts down the way and then they build the car around it. Everything bolts to the heater core or around the heater core.
Dean Stevenson buying a car to fit the parts you have is normal. 38 says that. I'm gonna bring up a picture from Dean Stevenson.
Ray 38 Racing. Welcome to the stream. That's
Kim,
a
Kim,
that is a trait that I have to be aware of and careful about is buying multiple cars so that I can fit all the pieces together and make one good car. What's up?
you've got this adjusted so it's cutting the top off. There we go. Okay. Yep, that's all I want.
Who's this?
Dean Stevenson.
What's he building? He looks younger than in
That
the
he
other
looks
pictures.
younger than what he does today. Yeah, I think so. So he's gonna have to come on here and tell us what's going on there.
I bought that Ranger so I could pull the motor out and put it in my Bronco. But so the crazy thing is here, for some reason here in Tennessee, if your eyes are open on Facebook Marketplace, you can find a whole vehicle with the parts you need for cheaper than if you went to the junkyard and bought the parts that you need. Like I bought that white Ram truck and it had good tires and a good front bumper. And the price of the truck was cheaper than buying tires and a front bumper. And then I have the rest of the truck that I did a wheel it run on and that we can drive around in the lot to this day. And it blows my mind, but I guess it makes sense. Like the cost of pulling the parts and whatever is so much so that labor is so high. It's cheaper to buy just the part than a whole nother vehicle. So I have to be really careful. I have to be like, we don't have space to be buying additional vehicles. We can't just keep buying. So I have to pay extra for parts when I can buy a whole vehicle and it kills me inside slowly.
She sees all these vehicles. She just wants to drag more
I
of
could
them.
buy
More of them.
that. I could buy that. I could use those parts. I could stack it up like cordwood. And he's like, I don't even say it because I know
Well,
the look I'll
the
get.
yard
and I don't
starts to
wanna
look
do
like
it.
a wrecking yard, and at some
It
point,
already
at
does,
some
yeah.
point, a neighbor will
Yeah.
turn us into the
Yeah.
authorities, and then we
At
got
some
problems.
point, we'll have to get rid of it hastily, and we'll lose money. So I just have to remember.
What do we got here? It says
Sorry,
Dougster,
guys.
the '69 Pontiac Grand Prix SJ 428. I remember those new. I was 15 then, had a paper route. All the car dealers were on my paper route, and I'd stop and see those things, and it was like, man, that was one of my favorite cars, is that SJ. So I know exactly what they're, because it was a, what was it? It was a J and an SJ. The SJ was a good one, and it has 4-speed. And I always thought like a big old Grand Prix with a 428 and 4-speed would be so cool, but because it was so strange, big, kind of a luxury car with a performance package in it. I'm interrupting you again. I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. You were talking. It's your job. Okay.
You're
Dougster
scrolling.
said something about getting a '69 Grand Prix, but it's terribly rusty. Don't do it, Dougster. You got too much else going on.
Yeah, but he can get another Grand Prix and make it into an SJ.
That's a lot of work.
Okay. I was reading something and then you scrolled away. Buddy Car Farm, it's not your fault if a stray car follows you home. Or don't start saying that because she'll have all kind of stray cars follow her home.
The other thing is right now it's a lot easier to buy a car than to sell a car.
You know what's good right now?
Ooh.
She's got a car on her trailer that's just parked on the trailer.
It's planted there, so I can't.
She can't just run off of the trailer and fill it with more cars. And then the tow dolly. There's nothing on the tow dolly. I guess she could go run and get something on that, but we've kind of decided we have to work on the stuff we have because there's a lot.
We focus.
There's a lot.
Focus is important.
we came home from No Name Nationals a month ago today. We came home and we were going to do the aluminum car. Well, we haven't touched the aluminum car because we decided to fix the leak in her car, which turned into pulling the engine, pulling a transmission, fixing that frame member. Uh, what else? Rebuilding the left side of the front end, fixing the brakes on the left side. Uh, and now we're going
Tearing
back
down
to
two motors.
two engines, and we'll end up with good stuff. But we're a month into
A
it,
month.
and we haven't touched the aluminum car yet. But that's okay. It's just that's how things go, when you
We're
have
3 weeks behind on starting the aluminum car, and we are not there yet.
well, and when you have projects, that's what happens. So I'm not upset about it, but I kind of want that next. And then there's another car in the works. Is at some point this insurance company is going to pay me for my car, I hope, and then I'm going to buy a car, and that'll be another. I'm sure there'll be some projectness to that. So, although I'm going to try to buy one that I can drive for a while without tearing into it.
JB came in. Welcome to the stream, JB. I don't want to miss giving you
That's
a
good. That's good.
welcome. They're talking about Dougster starting that project. Dougster, I don't know, man. You don't want a rusty car. You got stuff. You got other stuff. Good stuff to do.
All cars up there are rusty.
I don't know. Pick what you really love and put all your focus into it, or else you'll never really get to do
Potato
it.
farmer.
There you go.
Potato. Focus. He says focus. I can focus on cars, just not a fine focus. Man, like I say, I'm looking at cars every day, and I'm just waiting for this check from the insurance company. Why is it when you owe somebody money, you got to pay them right on time? And when somebody owes you money, it just goes on and on and on. So they keep promising me money, and I keep not getting it. But the day I get it, I got about 3 or 4 cars in line.
It is moving along.
Yeah, it's just everything happens slowly. So, and then I'll buy another project, but it's got to be a project that I can drive every day.
You don't drive every day.
Oh, okay, but when I go out to the car, I want to drive. But I don't want to go out to the car and start jacking it up because it won't go down the road. I want a car that I can go out there and boom, go somewhere. And I got to buy something like that right now, like the Valiant. Valiant's a nice car, and it's still projecty. I can't just get in it and go somewhere. And somebody stole my wheels and tires. Kim, you have that glass look on your face.
You can have them back. I've got enough wheels and tires for both cars.
I'll get some, but I'm just giving you a hard time.
Okay.
But I mean, it'll drive with a 13-inch wheels on it. Just looks
I've got
funny.
the wheels. Okay. Someone said something about the headlight or the marker lights on this car being white and amber.
Oh, it's something from New Zealand, and they were a little different back then, I guess. See here, turn signals and parking lights in 1963 year model became amber in the U.S. And before that, they were white. So almost every other country, they were amber. But then you look at this and they're amber and white, so I don't know what the story is there. It was something in New Zealand. Don't know. That's danced. I don't know. Go ahead and read. I'm kind of lost.
Dougster Wolverine Garage is suggesting that if Danny Boyd needs a welder, I think I've got this right, that he could buy a flux core welder, go to town, and that MIG welding is pretty straightforward. It is a flux core is going to be a little more messy, and you need to make sure that you can meet the power requirements of your welder. And I would suggest that you don't buy the cheapest one you can get. If you buy a little better one, you're going to get better results with it. And
if you run an extension cord, make sure it's about this big around.
Don't run an extension cord for your welder. I mean,
you can if it's like a big hefty cord, but as soon as you put something on there that won't work,
you really need to consider when you're thinking, I'm going to buy a welder and do some welding. you need to consider your power source because it's not going to work very well off an extension cord. So if you don't have a reliable power source for it, if you have, a terrible old electrical box in your house and you run an extension cord out to your garage 2 miles, um, it's gonna not give you good results and it's gonna pop the breaker and stuff like that. That was like something that I learned over time. Nobody ever really taught me.
One-eyed cat is here. Hello. He says on his Valiant, when the headlights come on, the front parking lights turn off. That's how all car wash were in the U.S. until when did they start doing that? 68, I think. Maybe it's after that. It was always like that, and then at some point they changed it. And I like them when they run with the headlights. Does my Valiant, do they run on that? That's 72. I think they go off on that one too. I think when you turn the headlights off, I think the running lights go off. I'm not sure. I'm gonna have to look into that. I used to know this stuff right off the top of my head, but that's one I can't remember. Mexican spec says 68. It could very well have been because there was a lot of stuff that became that was changed in the 68 model year in the US. It could very well be 68. Uh, see, so Danny Boyd says a 68 Cougar, man. I'm sorry. I'm trying to clear up a rough throat here and I'm not staying up with it. Not keeping up with it. Yeah, and then Mexican Spec says he thinks it was 68. So I don't know. My 67 Cougar I know did not. Yeah, I don't know.
Did I tell you the absurd project that I had to talk myself out of that I saw?
No.
Um, so remember I went up over to that guy up over the way and looked at he had a couple of darts in the backyard and I was looking for a steering column with an automatic
When
shifter
was
on the
this?
column. It was a couple weeks ago already.
Oh, okay.
And he didn't have the parts that I needed, but he had those two cars sitting there. I thought about it. He's got a two-door that the whole floor is all gone out of it. And I thought I could, it's the same body style. I could cut the roof off of that and put it on my Dart and make my Dart into a two-door. It's got good doors and a good roof.
Oh
It's a whole
man. So
car.
two-door it?
That's a big,
We don't
big
need another
project.
we don't need
That's
another
that's like
major
a
project.
year-long
We don't need
project.
another major project
Yeah.
right now.
We
I'm
don't
sorry.
have the space. We have to kind of because we got to keep things rolling because the channel is growing. You guys are family, but like we have an audience as well. Our audience are people who don't really show up and comment in this kind of context,
Oh,
but they are watching our channel and we're
Dougster.
growing and like we're trying to cater to that. We're not doing like AI uh, info documentaries to try and grow the channel. We're trying to do real stuff. It's a lot of work. It's time consuming.
What is
You really
this?
have to plan what you do. Oh, that's
Dougster.
that.
Dougster. I got to talk to Dougster.
Put that
He's
up.
wait. He sent me a picture that I can only open as a preview in my email because it is maybe somebody knows it. It's an HEIC file. I've never seen an HEIC file. Can you send that as a JPEG or something? I don't want to have to go figure out how to convert that right now, but I can't put it up on the screen. It won't go up.
JB said that's some DD Speed Shop work. Converting to a two-door. Yeah, yeah. And DD Speed Shop is one of the most prolific builders I've ever seen. He is out there. He works a full-time job and then he comes home and works a second full-time job. He must. For them to put out that much content, he is working, 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 working. And I just don't have it in me. A couple of hours a day, like doing this stream wears me out.
What happened to
Cutting
Dean?
and
What happened to
chopping.
Dean Stevenson? I
Oh,
put his picture up here and he quit talking. I thought he'd tell a story.
he was talking about the lights and stuff like that.
He was?
I think.
Maybe I missed out.
Lester LeSabre says Kim has caught the DD Speed Shop two-door conversion virus. Well, I do watch a lot of DD Speed Shop, so I know that it's like a possible thing. But it's different than a Chevy with a '57 Chevy. Um, the door fits right on, and you just move the post. But with
Okay.
a dart, you would have to cut the whole roof off, and
I'm gonna have to try to do something with this
it's a
picture.
bigger job. It's not a bolt on kind of thing.
I don't have. This isn't my normal
You know
computer.
what? It
This is
says
just.
it's because he's on his
Yeah, I
phone.
know. So I'm
So
gonna. I want to convert it, but I don't have my. This isn't my computer, my normal computer. So I don't have all my software for doing quick conversions and stuff.
you can't do the screenshot cut thing.
No, I'm trying to do that, and I
It
don't.
won't
That
work.
isn't on this computer. It
There it
just
is, right there,
what
down there beside the little
this?
mountain. Snipping tool.
Press Windows logo key shift. What?
Oh, I'm
Why do
sorry.
I have to push all these? But why doesn't it just work? Gotta mess around.
I don't know. I'm sorry. It won't even just take a screenshot. Forget about it. Forget about it. Sorry, Dougster. Check out Dougster's channel. He has some really, really cool pictures, and they went. They had a great time. Uh-oh.
I might be able to do it. I might be able to do it. Copy to clipboard and save. Select here to markup and share.
Oh, there you go. Just drag that over.
Yeah, but that's like an interim.
That's okay. Just drag it over to the other
I
screen.
don't want to do that.
Ow.
I guess I could.
Yay! There it is.
But it won't zoom in or out because that's with the clipboard.
That's okay.
You know,
just
when
just
you're
leave
used
it right there. Leave it right there. Don't get mad.
when you're
Just
used
leave
to
it right
one
there.
computer and you get something that's different and it's all your
Check it out.
stuff isn't there, it's
That's
hard.
what you can see at Dougster. And the story is cool. I'm not going to give it away. Those Tim says those are files from an iPhone and they are compressed. So it's a Mac thing.
So here he
Apple
goes.
thing,
Here's
iPhone
he
thing.
sent me another one that might be.
No, it's the same.
I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's going on. Sent me weird files. Gonna try again.
He's a little bit short-tempered today.
No, did the same
he'll
thing.
start-
Dougster sent me another one that did the same exact
Okay,
thing.
don't be mad at Dougster.
No,
He
it's just
doesn't know.
it's just a weird file that isn't compatible with this computer.
Dirt Road Landing says me and computers are like oil and water. Some days it goes smoothly here, but other days it goes really bad. We have our things that are routine and we get pretty good at them, but when we do something new, man, it's rough. It's a little rough.
Well, before we came on, I had plenty of time and I was really everything was rolling and I had to move some files over and I had a lot of stuff going on my computer and moving the files crashed the computer. It just overwhelmed it. And so then I got in a big old hurry and I had to reboot the computer and try to figure out where the files went. And I finally gave up and just came in here. Okay, we're not going to have those files. So I had a bunch of new pictures of cars that I'll put up next week because my computer's sitting there. When I came in here, it was rebooting because I crashed it. I overwhelmed it, choked the computer to death.
Okay. Check out the chat. See if there's anything there that you'd like to talk about as things go by.
I love 68, 69 Skylarks.
Danny Boyd, I'm not brought up anything yet.
Yeah, you had a blank screen over there.
I do have a blank screen.
What's going with you over
We've had plenty of stuff going on. I haven't needed to bring anything up. So read something else, and then I'll look for. They don't see that.
They don't see that.
No,
Okay,
no.
just some weird shit comes up.
Don't
what it is.
swear.
I don't know what it is. Yeah, now I got to check a different box on
You do.
on YouTube when I load this up because I said a bad word.
Yeah, no bad words, please. Man, G-rated here. All right.
Which year is that? Oh,
Fuzzy card.
all we have is black behind us. Oh, there we go.
It takes a second. Man, is it tough tonight. He has given me so much grief.
Well, I don't know.
today.
You're looking on that screen over there, and then I can see
Giving
over
me so
here.
much grief. I hear
It's
him
just black.
across the room. He's yelling because the files are moving from the wrong direction to the wrong direction. I don't know why. I don't know why. I'm just trying to do my thing.
I had to just give up. And I don't like to give up, but I gave up, and I'll do it later.
Let it go. Let it go. Let it go.
See,
It's frozen.
I'm an airplane guy.
You can
And
let
you
it go.
don't just go, forget it, go flying anyway.
No, you just say it's a no-fly situation. That's what you say
that's
sometimes.
Bad. It's bad. No fly situation. That's
Sorry,
bad.
we're not flying today.
That's bad.
Forget about it.
There's a schedule, and you have to meet it. I don't know. I lived with that kind of stress for my whole life, and so now I'm retired, and I still act like that stress is there. And she just goes, let it go. And I'm like, I'm programmed not to let it go. So I struggle with that.
B&R Racing says, Dougster, too bad that 69 GPSJ 428 4-speed is in bad shape. B&R, welcome to the stream. B&R has been lurking a little bit and finally decided it was time to enter the chat. Thank you for hanging out. We're having a good night.
The 69
I'm just
had
giving
an
I'm giving
reverse.
him grief right back, but honestly, we're having a good night.
The 69 had a reverse light in the bumper. Well, I didn't think I was that upset, and you thought I was like had a problem.
I tell he's gonna get mad when I say it, but your tone. I could tell from your tone that you were very upset.
I was struggling with something, trying to make it happen, and it was just not happening. Computer instead of doing this, it went, and it ended. That's not fun.
Mexican Spec says the only way to have long-term relationships is to let things go. Yeah, you know what? Tomorrow we will not dwell on anything that happened today. We just move. Next day is the next day.
Because tomorrow it'll be rebooted, and I won't try to overwhelm the computer. I'll do 1 or 2 things at a time instead of 20, and it'll work.
But it's not a one-way street. Like if one person's holding grudges and the other person isn't, it's not going to work out. I don't hold grudges against him, and he doesn't hold grudges against me, because I am far from perfect. And so we just...
What do they talk about, these slanty back? Oh, I see. Like the one that I want to point, and of course, I can't. That one right there. But my finger falls off. Yeah, that one.
That one, yeah.
Yeah, that bumper slants back, and then it also concaves. I mean, that
one gets bigger.
That is a good-looking bumper. And that's the same body as a Chevelle, but it's just a whole bunch different because it's a Buick. Yeah, look at those sway bars underneath. The one that goes underneath the differential, I remember those. And when you drive one of those cars without that, they handle like crap. When you put one of those sway bars on, they're glued to the road. It's amazing.
Cope Racing Transmissions says you've been grumpy all night. Welcome to stream, Cope Racing Transmissions. I think we began the stream. Was that our thumbnail, or was that just the first video?
No, it's the first. I'll go back to that because he's here now. I don't know. I think he saw it last week because it was a holdover from last week. That's Dean Stevenson, and there's a Mexican Spec car. That's Mexican Spec requested a Marlin, so I put one up. And that's
shoot!
That's what
I didn't have your screen up.
Oh, I'm telling the story, and you didn't even have the screen up. I'm looking at the screen that isn't showing.
You jumped the gun.
There's what we started with. Man, I thought I'm telling the story of all the stuff I'm showing, and you didn't even have them up there.
Well, okay. Yeah, you'd started the bit before I was ready.
Okay, so
there it goes.
So that's what we started with.
We didn't talk about it, but we had it up there to show because it's a pretty cool.
That was a nice way to start with our background green screen.
So, John Cope, I wanted to say something. I was actually going to make a video showing what you taught me something. So I was watching. If anybody doesn't know who John Cope is the owner proprietor of Cope Racing Transmissions, I believe. Maybe somebody else owns it.
Automatic transmission genius.
He is a friend of John Wilburn, who is the No Name Nationals promoter, and
he's friend of everybody.
He is.
He's like everybody.
A really great guy.
It's like the first time I went out to No Name Nationals, first year, went out there, and there's this red Ford truck. It was either 65 or 6, don't remember which, but the tailgate where it says Ford doesn't say Ford anymore. It says Hemi. That's strange. Somebody put a Hemi in it. I didn't know who this guy was. It was a pretty fast truck. And then I met him, of course, and so now 3 years in a row. Well, I guess he wasn't there this year. So yeah, I mean it's quite a truck.
Mexican Spec says, Kim, Miss Mexican Spec says hello. That's very nice of
Oh,
her. Tell her we send our best
so Mrs. Mexican Spec
to
watches
Mrs.
this.
Mexican Spec. I'm sure she is aware of the things happening around her husband all the time. So that's cool.
Cope says I'm a nobody.
No, Cope is really smart, right? So, and customer and service after the sale. So, I saw recently that he did a video of a communication with a customer, and the customer had a spring thing inside, parts inside a transmission. I don't want to get too deep in the weeds with it, but parts inside of a transmission that seemed to be failing. The customer was sort of upset because, it's a lot of work to rebuild a transmission and put it in and then have it fail. There were, clearly upset. So John's talking to them, and they figure out this part is bad. And John says the only reason that part would fail is if it was getting too high of pressure. So the problem is not the part. I mean, the part is obviously damaged now, but the problem is the pressure is wrong. So then they did another stream, and the guy took his valve body, and John walked him through the valve body, and there was parts missing from the valve body and parts stuck in the valve body. He says that's why your transmission failed.
I can't imagine this. A guy did what he did. Is that he had a video with a customer troubleshooting something over the phone, and just letting everybody watch that. It was so good, but I don't know if I'd do that because I might make a mistake, and then I don't want the whole world to see it. But he just rolled right through it and figured it out. It was pretty good,
So
And Wilburn, you see what he says. He, where is it? Cope. Oh, it's scrolling almost the top already. Cope is an I Dream of Jeannie fan.
Who isn't?
Where else was she? Where else was she? She was on.
Okay, so
she was on another movie.
I was trying to talk up John Cope here.
Yeah. Okay.
So I didn't finish. I'm almost finished. So, John, you did not only help your customer, you helped me, right? Because I had the number 2 clutch pack in one of my 904 transmissions was real sloppy, and I thought this doesn't seem right. Clearly, the bands are all worn out in it. So I was, it's on the shelf. Just the parts are on the shelf, and I haven't got around to rebuilding it yet. And I went up there, and wouldn't you know, that spring is just flattened, and there's all kind of slop in there. And I thought, oh, this transmission doesn't have a bad clutch pack. This transmission has a bad valve body. So you saved me from ruining a rebuild, because I would have just put that valve body back together messed up. And now I know what's wrong and where to go. And I feel like that is so much value. And I thank you for providing that for me, other people in the community, and for your customers, because the world needs that.
I think it's amazing a guy does that for the whole world to see.
Yeah.
Instead of one customer. Cool. It's great. And yeah.
Thanks for doing what you do. Let's see. So if you are doing transmission work with somebody, you should really consider talking to John Cope at John Cope Racing Transmissions, because the guy knows his stuff and he cares about his customers.
Now, Buddy Carfano sent this. He says that's a what do you call it? A matchbox of his car.
Oh.
So I put it up.
Neat.
And John Cope says, Cam, nice. You're welcome.
Oh, and obviously check out John Cope Racing Transmissions YouTube channel, where you can find informative tutorials about transmission
Oh,
rebuilds.
Mexican Spec. Can you put up a link to Cope Racing Transmissions, his YouTube channel, and then everybody in here can sub to him and have all that information handy.
Iceman 2010 says John Cope is the only person I've seen use a Tesla valve in an actual useful everyday application. Pretty cool. Welcome to the stream, Iceman. John Wilburn says Mexican Spec, no vacation here. I'm swamped. Yeah, John is still trying to clean up from storms, and he got pretty lucky, but that doesn't mean that he doesn't still have a bunch of work
Yeah.
on his hands.
All of us, I think, had something happen right after No Name Nationals. Me, it was a crash. She had surgery. John had a storm, hurricane come through. I mean, it was just like No Name Nationals, big fun event, and then whack, we all got hit with something, you know. Let's see here. There's
38 Racing.
thank you. There's Mexican Spec put up a
Yeah,
link.
thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so I'm gonna move on to the next picture that was sent by gotta get my stuff together. Bruce Culchin sent this. Oh, look at that. It's a rear engine dragster.
Nice.
You gotta tell a story about this.
Shoot. I had something I wanted to say. I guess it wasn't so important, or it probably was, and now I'm lost. 38 Racing says over the phone diagnostics is fun. Let me tell you, to diagnose something over the phone, you need to have a clear picture of every piece in your mind. You have to know it inside and out to be able to listen to somebody tell you what's going on and just see the whole thing and know. And that's valuable education. Ask him about his airplanes, and he knows.
I was kind of thinking about right there what we were seeing.
Every little thing, and to have a person like that at your who is willing to work with you through a problem, it's just you can't even put a price on that. So
John Carwilly's here. Good evening.
Oh, welcome to stream, John Carwilly. Check out his channel. He does John Carwilly stuff.
Is Bruce going to tell us about this? He sent this great picture. I was hoping he'd like tell a quick story about it.
He will. It's up. Give him a minute.
Okay.
Sometimes it takes time for people to type.
I'm just asking.
Dougster is. I could tell Dougster is dreaming about this car. He is dreaming about this car. I mean, I hope you get it, but I also hope you don't have to get it. Because Dougster, it's going to be so much work. Don't make sure you get it at a really good price, Dougster, because it's going to be more work than you thought. You know it's going to be a lot of work, so make sure tell them, like, if you don't sell it to me, it's going to rot somewhere because somebody's going to take it apart and never put it back together. Make them feel guilty for even asking for money. Tell them you'll take it away for a marginal fee. You know?
I have another customer with a transmission problem. I will help in live. That's great. Man, when you put those up, John, when you put those up, sometimes I miss the live, but I try not to, and then you know, you leave them there, so of course I watch them, and it's that's good stuff.
I learned so much I watched a bunch of John Cope's videos, and I went out and I bought. Which one did I buy first? I bought a 904 transmission.
Oh no, you got a load of transmissions up there.
Like really quick, I bought like 2 or 3. I bought a 904 and a 727 transmission. I took them all apart.
You went into
the one had some water in it. I had to take it apart.
You went into the 727 first.
I had to take it apart because it got water in it, and I knew it would be ruined if it sat around with water. So I dumped all the water out. I took it apart. I cleaned everything and dried it, and then I put it back together without a rebuild kit. Just so that I wouldn't lose any pieces, you know. But I learned so much from that. But then I also started to, I realized I don't know what I don't know, and so then I can start to learn. You know, it's a process of.
Wow.
Go ahead. What's up?
Bruce, he says, I have a 528 cubic inch methanol burning Ford 429 Cobra Jet motor for this. That's that. Oops, I'm
Oh,
pointing the wrong way
man.
because it looks like a mirror, but it's not a mirror. It's for that vehicle right there.
Oh, this car is long gone now.
Oh, oh, what happened? Well, okay, there it is.
It is
Great,
really fun
great
to
project.
dream about the things that could be or might have been. And I think that's good. The world needs dreamers, people to come up with um, interesting things or productive things and keep things moving because otherwise we'll just sit around and go, that sounds like work. Like, yeah, yeah. But in the end, we'll have something cool. My Dart is going to be a really nice little car when it's done now. Like, we'll we've been
Well,
sorting on it long enough that it
it's
ran great out to No Name Nationals.
we knew that rusty business on the frame, and we knew we needed to do something about it. But it was just like that's such a big mess to deal with. So it was like, okay, we'll have to fix that in the future. Well, then she had the engine out, and then it's like,
That's
son, this
future Kim's problem, and
this
then
is.
it was
She's like, this is the time to fix that, and I go, yeah, you're right. And pretty soon, the car is really far apart.
all apart.
But that's fixed now, and it's all back together. It's the point where you can put an engine transmission in it again, and you got a new motor mount, and you got new, all the stuff that it takes to do it right. Now all we got to do is really, I say build an engine, just put an engine together with what we have right now. I think you might need something. I don't know. You got the gasket set. You got. I thought there was something you needed, but I think mostly we have everything we need to get that slant back together. Oh, tell everybody you did earlier, but we have many more people in here now. Tell everybody what you did last night, or do you want to just
Oh,
put it up as a video?
I did tell. I am going to put up a video, but most people, yeah, I can't show the
Well,
video
give a
because.
little bit of a tease so they'll watch the video when you put it up.
Oh, okay. So I went out last night and I really took my time with the Dremel tool and I ported the cylinder head for my Dart. And somebody had already taken down if you're familiar with cylinder head porting, somebody had already done a mild port around the valve guides. I don't know why they did that, but somebody had, and it has replacement bronze valve guides in it already, which is great. But they had not unshrouded the valves. So I did the best valve unshrouding that I have ever seen on a Slant 6. And I've seen a couple, and this one was superior. I had practice last year working on the cylinder head for
She did the
his car,
poor job on mine.
and this is better. I mean, I feel bad that I didn't do the best ever on his car, but
Oh,
I did the best ever on my car.
that's how the world is.
Yeah,
Every time you do something, it should be better than the last
better.
time, and you kind of know that.
I did it faster and better and more focused on the stuff that will make the difference. I wish I had a flow bench so I could brag about numbers, but nobody really cares about numbers. And it's a Slant 6. Okay, so porting is going to help the volumetric efficiency of your engine. You'll get a little bit better gas mileage, you'll get a little bit better performance, but you think about it as time invested right now will last over the life of the car. It's a big deal. But you're not going to get 100 extra horsepower out of the Slant 6 by porting. It might be a couple extra horsepower, but it's a couple extra horsepower over the life of the car for it's good things. It's really good things. I feel great about it. I'm excited. The car ran really good with the worn out. We in the garage we tested. We took out one of the rings on the engine that came out. We took one of the rings out and measured, and the gap was in excess of 70,000.
No, not big, was it?
75,000. Yeah.
Well, the ring was so worn out.
I
Who
had
was
to,
it in there? Somebody in here, I'm sure, was in there, and I don't remember who it was. Said, to measure the ring, and then we knew what the wear was on it.
and it was
And it was
slapping
it
in the
was-
ringland.
It's
So,
really bad. So,
but the car ran good like that.
so we'll put a set of rings in it.
So, but what I'm saying is the new bottom end has good ring gaps
Oh,
and
the other
good, it's tight compared to the old one was very loose. The new one's nice and tight, and we're going to put a better cylinder head on it. So I'm really looking forward to feeling that sucker roar on the when we go to get groceries, between the stoplights on the way to get groceries, I want to feel nice. Kim Ported Heads like to drink fuel unless you keep steady on gas pedal cruising. Ported Heads like to drink fuel. Okay, so the thing of it is people who build race engines, they have lead foots. And yes, it is going to drink gas, but you know what? I don't care. I don't go anywhere.
You
And
go
when
up,
I
you go
do,
up this store.
when I do,
Oh, we run to No Name Nationals once a
it
year.
is for pleasure when I take my dart out. So if it uses more gas, I'm okay with that. I want to enjoy my car. I want it to feel peppy and sporty, and I want to be able to show it off. But I don't use it so much so that fuel economy is the major thing. Most people don't care about their fuel economy with their race car. That dragster right there, it gets terrible fuel economy. You know, so I want it to be fun. But yeah, so ported heads get worse gas mileage. Is that what he's saying?
Mm-hmm. The way it's written, it's extreme.
I don't see why it would, because volumetric efficiency is improved when heads have proper flow, right? Is that not an accurate way of stating the results of
Can
good
you
head porting?
can you do something? I don't know if you can do it from that computer over there. Can you click on that link, or is that impossible? So you can bring that up, and we can also. Oh, it does work. Are you sure you want to leave?
It's okay.
Yeah, I see what's going on.
What are we looking at?
I don't know, whatever Mexican Spec put up there. This is the page for the 69 Grand Prix SJ.
Oh, I see. Yes, yes. Because it's a big thing they're talking about, and
Yeah,
it is
so we'll put it
interesting.
up there. I mean, he
Okay.
put up the link. Let's take advantage of it.
Okay. It's too big, but I can make it smaller. Let me just bring this back into perspective.
Miles per mile, not miles per mile.
That's right. Smiles per mile. Right? Smiles per gallon. All right. Here it is. If you invest in that car, it could potentially be um, worth $49,000, and that is in whatever
I
year's
see.
money
I
this
see.
is.
This is like this isn't showing the car. This is showing values of recently.
But I
I don't know
mean,
what all is there. Yeah, I don't
if you've
understand what
ever
this.
done a restoration of an old rusty car, you understand that your time and the parts and everything could potentially add up to that. And if you used that time and energy on something else, it, you know, so
Okay,
there
so
you
that's
are.
it. This is probably not so interesting up there behind on our screen, but they can click on it to do
Oh, it shows
research.
some other of those cars, he
It just
says.
yeah, it just shows
No,
one.
no, it says it shows
Oh,
cars.
oh, okay. Oh, so it does.
Highly original, 22.9.
Lifespan, never say investment and
Modified.
car in the same sentence.
Oh, there's lots of people that buy and sell cars as investments.
Yeah, but they're not car people. They're like,
Some of them are car people.
yeah, I guess I don't know. I saw a guy buy a '63 Dodge on years ago on one of the big auctions and paid $500,000 for it. And I'm looking at it going, this is an investor, and he's going to lose. I bet he did.
I mean, I don't know. Buying cars as investments is, you can buy gold, you can buy silver, but you can't drive silver. Can't drive silver to the grocery store. So,
Loud exhaust decreases miles per gallon and tire life. Just because you want to hear those pipes. Okay, so good. So Dougster likes that.
why does loud exhaust decrease miles per gallon?
Because you're whomping on it.
So it's not the exhaust, it's whomping on it.
Yeah, it's like,
Decreases miles
well,
per gallon.
that's what BNR says up there. Once you get your foot into higher flowing heads, you need additional fuel. Do okay driving like an old lady.
I mostly.
Are you an old lady? You're not an
yes,
old lady.
I am. Ask an 18-year-old if I'm an old lady, and they will not hesitate. They know I'm an old lady. What is it? What is the young gen? The youngest
I don't know.
generation
I've
of
lost
people?
track of all these different
Oh,
generations.
Dougster says scroll down. How far do you want me to scroll down?
Well, I guess you reached the end. Well, scroll back up a little. I don't know. It's one of those. I don't know. There's all kinds of Pontiac Grand Prix SJs. I had no idea there were that many for sale.
It is fun to make the car go Bob, Bob.
Well, I had that 72 Monte Carlo with a
It's
350 in
visceral.
it. 350 in it. It was stock. I flipped the air cleaner lid over, and then it used more gas because I was going boom all the time. It was fun. I don't know why. It was fun.
Iceman, I am rapidly approaching 50.
Rapidly approaching 50. Me too.
Yes, you are not. You have
Yeah,
overshot
it's like
50.
20 years ago.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm almost 50. I'm grandma.
Oh
I
man.
I have children who are old enough to have children. So,
Man. My yeah, my grandchildren are all adult. Oh no, my grandchildren
oh,
from my oldest son are all
John
adults.
Cope says he sent some
I'm
transmission
downloading
pictures.
them right now. As we speak, I'm downloading his pictures. So they will be here soon. Um, whoa, what's that?
John Wilburn says, "We're okay for just a bit, Kim. That's my story for a short while." It's all in perspective, right? Because I'm a young and
Okay, you're gonna have
from
to
his perspective.
put my view back up to get
Okay.
John's pictures up.
All right. We're getting some, we've got some pictures from John Cope.
No, she's not close to 50. Yeah, that's what I think. She looks like she's 30, but she's a couple of years older than that. Let's see here. Can you bring that up?
There it is. I'm going to make us a little bit smaller. Is that okay? So we can see the
Yeah.
pictures?
Okay, this is from John Cope.
I see a hole.
That's a bad hole.
Oh, is that an explosion?
He said it was an explosion. Pictures of an explosion. And then
Ooh.
this. Oh my God.
Ooh.
That's a piece.
That is the whole bottom of a transmission. That was the valve
Oops.
body
And this
in the
is another
pan.
one. Oh yeah, look where the gas pedal is.
Is the bell housing blown up? Oh man.
Look at that.
What car is that?
Tommy from Dublin is here. 2:17 a.m. Man, you're like you're either up real late or up real early. Or just like us, we're all nighter.
We're up late a lot. Iceman
Well, anybody that
and JB,
goes to work and
thank you.
starts their lives at 10 p.m. and that's when we start working and start streaming. Yeah, we're all nighters up there. We're almost all nighters.
I do
And then
appreciate
this is another
compliments.
picture that was sent. Don't know who it is. That came with John Cope stuff. Yeah. Oh, is that John Cope from like a while ago? Well, that's a '68 Cornet.
Oh, okay, that's his car.
Oh, look at his leg. Look at it. That's why he sent that picture. Not because he's
Mmm.
showing us how great he looked when he was young. It's because of the.
A leg
Okay,
wound.
can we? I want to move that up, and I can't. I'm
Yep,
trying
yep.
to do it.
Make it smaller. Okay.
Yeah, I'm trying to do that. And there's what he wants to show everybody. That's his gas pedal foot. Man. Yeah, he says that's him. Skinny John Cole. See, I was like that. I was thin, and then I was really fat, and then I'm back to not quite as thin. But there was 100 pounds that went away back in '07, and mostly I've kept it off. But I look at pictures of me from back then, and I'm like, oh man. There's a picture of me in front of an airplane in Yuma in '04, and it's like all these people in front of an airplane that just flew for the first time. So they got this group picture of everybody involved in it. And so we all got a copy of it. I'm looking at him going, man, who's that fat guy? I don't remember seeing him. I'm looking at it, I go, oh, wait a minute, that's me. It's like I can't be like that. And it's I still have that picture, and occasionally I look at it and go, yep. and Kim makes me control what I eat, and I do. And once in a while, I want to eat something ridiculous, and I don't. Uh,
B&R Racing says my late bud Bill had a clutch and flywheel blow up in his 1958 Corvette while doing burnouts, was missing part of his right foot. And he showed me.
you know,
Wow.
when you're in a car and there's that transmission tunnel sitting there, you don't even think about it. But there's like this little thin thing between you and all this stuff spinning at crazy speeds and the centrifugal force and everything. I don't know, I never think about it. But when I see pictures like this, it's like, man, I should be thinking about that. And I've only seen it happen once, and it was at Uncle Tony's. He had a guy there with it was his wife's somewhat a 413 or I think it was a 413, could have been a 440 in a big Chrysler product, and the guy's doing a burnout.
What was that, about 2 years ago? They posted that video.
Oh man, that thing just
Just blew up.
exploded and pieces went everywhere.
The
And
transmission tunnel just
bent the tunnel.
looked like Pop
The-
Secret in there.
The guy, it hurt his foot some, but it didn't penetrate the tunnel. So he just got walloped in the foot and bent his gas pedal. But, you know, and of course, John Cope does things to transmissions so they don't do that. But
I'm curious, John, what failed in that transmission that made it blow up like that? Do you know which component you lost? Leave that there.
I
for
put
a
it back
second.
up. Yeah, I put it back up.
What was that, a Sprag explosion, or what blew up there? Because the thing about a failure like that is you can learn something. You can learn. I'm going to make us little again.
Yeah, okay, there, that helps.
If you
Yes,
can't tell, that is the from above. That is the transmission pan and part of the aluminum transmission housing, and with the valve body in the center. It is blown completely out the bottom of the transmission. B&R Racing says that his clutch explosion took out the dashboard and entire windshield frame out of the 58 Corvette. Wow.
Yeah, because a fiberglass floor tunnel is not a scatter shield. It's just something that momentarily gets in the way.
Cope Racing says, Kim, that is a Sprag failure explosion. John Cope, something that I learned that I didn't know after I heard you talking about Sprags, and I see that you offer a bolt-in Sprag. I'm probably inspired by this type of explosion.
Remember, I was telling you about that like 6 months ago.
That
You got to look at what John Cope does with that.
904 transmissions have a factory bolt-in Sprag. So I'm surprised that they didn't put it in the 727s, but the 904 has a bolt-in Sprag. Do all 904s have bolt-in Sprags, or is there a year break for the bolt-in Sprag 904? I'm curious about that. That's a tech question. I got him in here now. I'm going to pick his brain. And I learned that stuff by watching his content and then taking a transmission apart. I've never built a transmission, but I've taken transmissions apart, so I know what makes them tick. Am I a better mechanic for having taken it apart? I don't know. I know a little bit. I can talk a little bit more interesting about it on stream. I'm definitely not an expert. Oh, Cope showed me some of the damage still today on the Coronet. If you look down inside the cowl. Yeah, there's no, I guess you could cut it all out, but Iceman, look at those dummies standing around the chassis dyno when they're cranking those engines. Oh man, yeah. What was that explosion at the dyno? Who had that dyno explosion? They're talking about
that
the
was
people who stand right next to
Steve Morris.
Yeah.
Yeah, he had
blew up.
his the absorber or something back on his dyno exploded, and that pieces came through that whatever that shielding not glass window, Lexan or some pieces came right through there and flew out into the shop and didn't hit anybody. It's like, man, that was a close one. That dyno just exploded. You don't realize how much power is there. You think of how much horsepower you have and it'll take you down the drag strip in a hurry, but you don't think about how much power is there when something goes wrong and the whole thing all that power just turns into an explosion. It's crazy.
So, Cope Racing Transmission says that I have a very good video explaining how the transmission explodes. If you want to learn about some of the workings of a 727 transmission and some of the failings, shortcomings of a 727, and why you might want to talk to John Cope if you're building a high powered engine that is going to be in front of a 727, because John Cope will help you build a 727 that can handle pretty much anything. And the proof is in the pudding. Watch his cars go down the track. He knows how to make them hold together under huge loads, wheel stands, that kind of thing.
BNR said it's a Pro Charger setup that let go. Okay, I thought it was the absorber, but I don't remember because it was a while ago. But and I don't know if you had bulletproof glass, but it wasn't glass. It was some kind of a thick plastic. I don't know what it was. And the pieces just came right through there out into the shop. And I don't think he expected that to ever happen because the look on his face when that happened was he was stunned. I'm sorry. I wanted to catch stuff because I know what happens. It
No,
scrolls
no,
up.
no,
It
no.
scrolls up too quick, and it was relevant.
That's what we're doing. But Cope Racing Transmissions taught me that when the sprag, which I didn't know what a sprag was, but when the sprag uh, spins too hard, it will spin, the outer housing will spin in the case. And when it doesn't hold, that causes one of the drums to, um, the speed multiplier on one of the drums basically gets activated. So the drum goes way faster than it ever should have, and that will cause it to explode. So it's like a cascade failure that is very dangerous. And so he sells a bolt-in sprag so that the cannot do that, and he sells a bulletproof drum that also can't do that. So you have multiple layers of protection. John Woburn says the 87 and up 904 has a 12 roller bolt in. And that's wild because I remember the 904 that I have. I wish I had it with me. I think the Sprag had like 4 bolts, but it was definitely a bolt in. And nothing that I didn't even know they still made a 904 at 87. I guess they did for trucks.
Man, Iceman says, Buff, have you ever been around when a prop lets loose? Yes, I have. Once. Flying in formation with a guy, and we were both in pusher airplanes. He's in front of me. I was back a little bit. I can't do this. So I'm here. No, I'm here, and he's here. It's a pusher. And all we had was handheld radios with batteries in them. So every half hour we were on a trip, going like 1,000-mile trip. So every half hour we turn the radios on. You okay? You okay? Yep, everything's good. Yep, okay. See you in a half an hour. We turn the radios back off because trying to save the batteries. So it was like when a truck passes you and you blink and it looks like the wheel sits still for like a split second, like you see every detail of the wheel because you blinked. It's like your eye becomes a strobe. So I'm kind of looking over at him, and that's what it looked like. It looked like the prop stopped for a second, and I kind of looked, and I see the nose of the airplane. Where's my hand? I see the nose of his airplane drop down, and then he starts going back. So obviously he just lost power. So I turn on the radio. I go, hey, you okay? He goes, no. He goes, I'm going to have to land. And we happen to be over a place called King City in California, and we're up pretty high. So he goes, I'm going for the airport at King City. So he circled, and went down there and landed. And once he was on the ground, I'd already gotten on the radio, called somebody to come get us, bring the trailer up. And I went down there, and what had happened was that it was a 2-blade prop, and it was a composite, it was a carbon fiber prop, and it chucked one blade. And when that blade went, there's a tail boom down below. The other blade hit the tail boom 3 times by whack, 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 went by it, like 3 chops in the tail boom, and then it was the engine was out of the mounts far enough that it hit it solid, stopped the engine. The engine had ripped out of the mounts, and the engine fell down into the area below the engine, and we got down there at King City and we're sitting there looking at it. I said, "Oh man." I said, "Well, you're alive." And he goes, "Yeah." He goes, "Why don't you get going?" Because we were going to an air show. So I was going to get going, and he says, "First, help me lift that engine up," because we had Subway sandwiches. He goes, my sandwich is under the engine." So he lifted the engine up, got his Subway out, and he was sitting there waiting for his friends to come up with a trailer, and I left. But that was a scary thing. Had that watch that prop come apart,
That's crazy.
and it was it's like I saw it. I didn't understand that the prop had come apart, but I understood that there was that split second there where it looked like it was sitting still, and so until I got on the ground, I really didn't know what had happened.
Iceman says Nick's garage uses bulletproof glass in his dyno cell, and I think most do. I think they should.
So
It's a
the only
dangerous thing.
so the only place the parts will come through is the wall that doesn't have the bulletproof glass,
Yikes.
where it has drywall. So it'll go right through that.
Really? He has drywall?
I
You'd
don't
think they would
know.
be smarter
What
than
do they have,
that.
like a steel wall? I
You
don't
would
know.
think they'd be smart enough to do something
I
like
don't know.
that. KJ Callie says there was a kiln explosion in Animal House. I don't remember that, but that's been a long time since I saw
Yeah.
anything like that. A kiln explosion can be a big problem too. B&R Racing says when the low sprag fails in a turbo 400 at 6,000 engine RPM, the rotation mass suddenly turns 18,000. Yeah, that doesn't seem good. Yeah, you definitely want to make sure you have a strong sprag. And that you're supposed to do second gear burnouts with anything over 500 horsepower. And that makes sense. I think that's the same way with Mopar stuff. John Wilburn says that my Bolton Sprag 904 is an older pin in. Okay, so there's different styles. The newer ones have an even more robust thing. So they must have had problems with even the pin in ones, or else they wouldn't have made a more robust model. It's interesting to know.
Bob Burns is here. Good evening. He says when a sprag fails in a helicopter transmission, you're really screwed. Man, I've ridden in helicopters. I'm not a helicopter pilot. I understand what's going on. I've sat up front, but I don't really like riding in them because I don't know. A fixed wing, I've had all kinds of failures in fixed wings, and I had to glide down and land somewhere. But in a helicopter, I mean, you might be able to auto rotate down, but you might not be able to. I don't know. Don't really like riding in them. But Lot Burns does. He's a helicopter guy.
Dented Dreams Garage is here. Welcome to the stream. Everyone else, welcome to Dented Dreams. Thank you for welcoming our friends as they come in, because sometimes we get to talking, but I think you're here for the talking, so I don't think it's a bad thing, but sometimes we get caught up. I'll watch people in Hondas make the money shift all day. That's funny stuff. The money shift. Oh, the expensive one where it fails. Yikes.
Okay, do we have another picture to put up here? Maybe.
I don't know. What else
I
we
didn't.
got?
Nobody else sent anything. I'm looking at this. It's just.
Oh, okay.
Oh
I'll make
my
a
God.
small so you can see it.
It's like, man, if anybody understands what that is.
Yeah, that's
but it's
parts of the transmission coming through the floor of the car and busting John Cope's leg. And I mean, if you've got ratty floors, okay, this is where people who use license plates to put their floors
Oh
back
my God.
together,
you got a leg full of license plates.
they don't even know. License plates are aluminum. They're
Well,
tin.
some are steel.
They're not going to protect you. There's a reason why they make that floor hump out of steel. Like it needs to be. What was it you were telling me about one time about a fiberglass car that had holes in the floorboards because the floor was fiberglass and stuff was hitting the floor and it was poking holes in the fiberglass like a Corvette or something like that?
My-
No, it had a stainless shield.
My C4 Corvettes have a stainless steel, like an outer floor, right where your feet are and everything. Because if anything ever you hit anything, it comes up through the floor, it'll cut your legs off. So they put a piece of stainless there. When I get under mine, I always look at that stainless, and it was all beat up from stuff hitting it. And I'm thinking, man, every one of those dents is something that could have come through the floor. But stainless is very strong, but it's also the yield is very low, so it bends real easy. So it leaves dents, but it doesn't penetrate the inside of the car. Um, at least not with you know, rocks and whatever the heck ends up in a road that you might run over. Let's see here. What else? I saw something else. The money shift is where they. I wish you'd read this stuff. And then
Okay,
pole barn
Iceman,
garage.
the money shift is where they go for third at wide open throttle and end up jamming it to first gear, Kim. Blows up everything. Yeah, I'm sure. That's not a good thing. That's it. I don't know. I guess it would be, as long as no one's hurt, it might be a very cringe thing to see. JB says Pole Barn Garage is king of license plate floors. Yeah, I like a Pole Barn Garage, and I think the it's very fun to see someone together a car like that. But in reality, it's not very safe, especially not for drag racing. You should not be doing burnouts in a car with an aluminum floor that's put together with self tappers. And Dalton likes to play that. He likes to play with that danger a little bit. I he's a smart guy. I think maybe sometimes he knows where he can get away with it and where he can't. I hope that, but I worry that sometimes people will not realize. Like that floor is there to protect you in the event of a catastrophic failure or an accident, things like that. So, a car like that is probably not very safe to use for daily driving in traffic and around other people because other people are nuts and they will run into you and accidents happen. So when Buff was in the accident right after No Name Nationals on the highway,
Wasn't an accident.
and
It was a
his
crash.
car was pushed in the accident sideways. He hit that cable rail at the center of the interstate and went up over and well, he didn't spin around, but he was backwards
I
and
was
he
going
went
backwards at 70
through
miles
the
an
thing
hour.
and into the cables. His car is this big foam and steel sort of bubble of protection. The airbags went off and the whole thing. And it really makes you think, do I want to be in a rusty old beater with floors made out of license plates in that situation? He didn't choose to be in that situation. So,
Car protected me well.
yeah, yeah.
I wanted to
And
catch something before it goes away.
go.
B&R Racing says, who makes or supplies and fittings, hose, all these kind of pieces for aviation use. Two places I go first: Aircraft Spruce and Specialty. They don't make them, but they have a good selection and a good catalog online where you can choose what you need. And then the other place is Wix, Wix Aircraft, and Wix Aircraft is kind of my second place to go, although they're both really good places. Wix location is near St. Louis. They're on the Illinois side, but right near St. Louis. And so, depending on where you live, I mean, I've been there just to go there and meet them, and I knew everybody from the place. And then Aircraft Spruce and Specialty, they've really expanded. They started out in Southern California, and then they had a second location in Georgia. I think they have a location in Canada now, and I think they have a couple other locations. So shipping from them is usually pretty quick. But those two have good supplies, and who makes them, I don't know. Um, I bet both those places they'll have uh, good quality stuff because it's aircraft stuff, not not something that looks like aircraft that isn't.
Dougster says there's a young kid at work, about 20. His 5-speed Civic burns so much oil, you know when he is on the throttle and when he isn't. And he drives that thing hard. Poor car. If it wasn't a Civic, it probably would have fallen apart by now. I don't know. He'll learn. He'll learn. Were we all so dumb when we were that age? But I don't know. Maybe somebody can talk some sense into him, but probably not. Um, 38 Racing says Stone Soup has the least floor of any car on the road. If you guys are not familiar with the Stone Soup car, it's a 62 Lancer,
62 Lancer.
and it came from Washington State, and it traveled from YouTuber to YouTuber across the United States for Vic of Diecast Metal Customs. And yeah, they patched the floors back together with license plates, and it looks really cool. And as far as drag racing, I mean, I don't think that it's the car is going to get a lot of drag racing, but yeah, I wasn't specifically talking about Vic's car. It's neat that they put it together, but yeah, it's probably not the safest thing on the road. You know, it's a little bit rough. And
A lot.
in some states, they will absolutely not allow you to put something like that on the road. I don't know. I don't know structurally what that car. I didn't get a good look at that car. It was cool looking. I don't know if it was structurally safe. But you know, compared to a Geo Metro, it might be better in an accident. So it's all relative. Um,
BNR wants to know if I'm feeling better. I think a little bit. I have a doctor's appointment Thursday, so we'll see what they say.
we had to move the in garage studio around so that he didn't have to crane his neck so
You
hard to
know,
see what's
that's
happening.
the only, I was really sore, and I have all this clickety stuff in my neck, but that's really getting better. And I'm sore, but where I really notice is I have a habit of like looking at something or looking over there in a hurry, and that's when it hurts. So I've had to learn to like I can the range of motion's fine, but I can't just like whip go look at something. I can't do that like full, you know, full what the full rotation of my neck in a hurry, or that hurts. So yeah, I just got to take it easy. I think one time I hurt my back pretty badly, and it took, and then it was from lifting at a crazy angle, put stress on my back and made a like a bump in the spine, and it really bothered me for a long time. And I drove a lot of long distance, and I always sitting there like this because that bump was right in the middle of the back of the seat. And it was probably 2 years. And one day I was driving along and I'm thinking, that's not bothering me anymore. So it was about 2 years of exercising it, but not to the point where I was hurting it. And I think this might end up being the same thing. I don't know. Hard to say. I'm 20 years, more than 20 years older when that happened. So, and you're younger, things heal faster, better. I don't know. I think I'll be okay.
Um, he's doing better. I can tell by the how often he complains about it, how he's doing, and it's getting better. But I know his neck hurts. Iceman says, "Seems like I'm avoiding other people causing accidents all the darn time." Yes, you must drive defensively, or somebody's going to hit you. Because people think that everybody drives like it's Grand Theft Auto out there. They're just, I don't know, oblivious, or maybe they're just too scared to drive good. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. BNR Racing says I used to hang out at my local airport in Peru, Illinois. Buy aviation fuel, recall all the AN hardware on aircrafts in the hangars.
Yeah,
Um,
everything's, yeah. Look at a military jet engine. There'd be a lot of yeah, AN fittings and
they got
tubing
to
and
do it.
everything.
They got to do it at a different level because if it stops working, you crash into the ground. Whereas with cars, if it stops working, you just slow down and hopefully pull over. 38 Racing says there's two big, thick aluminum plates under the license plates. I'm really glad to hear that. And I kind of thought that they probably did a little more than what they show you. Or maybe they did show you, and I haven't watched every moment of every video about that project, but it was fun to follow it, and I'm glad friends don't let friends drive cars that are horribly um dangerous. You need to pull the person aside. It's like, I know it's kind of cool, but how about we do this and make it so you don't die. um and the goal was bring it back to being a driver. Yeah, maybe not a daily driver, but maybe a grocery getter, or something to take to the car shows or something like that. It's a cool car. He made it all the way to No Name National. He drove it that way, and I think there's probably needs a head gasket or something, but I think it's going okay. They brought it back from the brink of extinction, to being a car that might be worth playing. It was just fun. Sometimes it's fun to show what you can do. Um,
Daryl B.
What about the new e-cars with Daryl B? Welcome to the stream. What about the new e-cars with the giant bomb under them? Really, how safe are they?
Okay, I got a
They're
story.
incredibly
I
dangerous.
got a current story.
Okay, can I make you big?
You can if you want.
Okay, I'm gonna make Buff Del Campo big while he tells this story, and then I am going to refill my drink.
Oh, you're gonna leave while I tell the story? I want to tell you to
I'll be
seriously.
no, I'll listen. Talk loud. I'll be right in here.
She just left me with the whole thing. She doesn't know what she did. She left me in charge. Now I can do something crazy. No, what the story I was going to tell you is just recently there was in Germany, somewhere near Berlin. I don't know, but near Berlin, there was a city that built a new fire department, and they didn't put any smoke detectors in it or no fire alarm systems, nothing, because they didn't feel that they needed it in the fire department. And what happened was they were charging some kind of an e-car truck or something, a battery-powered vehicle. It was charging. It caught on fire and burned the whole fire department down. Did millions and millions of dollars damage to the vehicles and the building. Left nothing there. And they, of course, didn't get the fire put out. And if you want to see about that, they recent video done by uh, who's the lawyer I watch? Steve Lato.
Yes.
Steve Lato just told the story, and it was like within the last 2 or 3 days on Lato's Law, and pretty interesting that would happen. You burn your own fire department. Iceman, I'm heading out. Tuesday's always fun time. Hey, thanks for being here, and hope you're still there. Good night. Uh, Self-tapping screws and hopes and dreams. BNR Racing. My favorite AN race company is Earl's. See, Earl's though is not really aircraft stuff, is it? Because like they have nuts that look like a big AN fitting, and then hid in there is a worm clamp to hold the hose down. And I've seen a lot of stuff like that from Earl's, and you can't use that on an airplane, but they use it on cars because it looks like AN hardware. So I don't know. Maybe they also have some AN stuff. I really don't know. But as soon as I saw that kind of thing, I just didn't pay attention to them again. Maybe I should have. I was curious about aviation mechanics aren't going to use Earls. They're going to use this stuff from aircraft spruce or there's other aviation suppliers. There's a place out in California called I'm trying to think. They're in Paso Robles, California. Um, I'll think of it when Kim comes back in here. She can look it up and we'll find it. It's a place that has nothing but obscure AN hardware and all kinds of stuff like that. And the name escapes me right now. But they're probably the biggest export or experts on that kind of thing. Yeah, did you know that Steve Lato has a live and you could? Yeah, I just don't. It's like there's so much stuff I watch. There's so much content that haven't gone on live with Steve Lato. I don't know. I might sometime, but I don't. What do you have there? What did you put in there? Hardware, Paso Robles, California. Uh, put and that's not seeing an, it's seeing an, like the word an. Just put aircraft in there. Genuine aircraft hardware. It's the first one that popped up. Yeah, look at genuine aircraft hardware in they're online and they have everything. I mean, the just most obscure AN hardware that you ever want, all kinds of eye bolts and sizes that are not the common ones, and of course all the common stuff too. They have all the aircraft stuff.
Not sponsored. But you were asking where to get stuff, so
Yeah, so that's
he has experience, many years of experience with aircraft, so he knows this stuff.
told two hacks Jeff, and if China leaks while towing your cars to the track, you're screwed. Yeah, I don't know. When I saw the stuff from Earl's that had the hose clamps hidden inside them, I was like, yeah, this is all show and no go. But I don't know. I didn't look further, so maybe they do have good stuff as well. And does stand for Army Navy. And hardware was really, I think, came out of the 1930s, and it's a system of once you understand all the numbering and lettering and everything, you can look at a part number and know what it is. And then you also see stuff that's NAS, which is naval air naval I don't NAS, but NAS hardware. See, AN hardware is basically the same as grade 5, but it's certified hardware. And uh, NAS, I think, is basically like grade 8. It's see, AN is usually 125,000 psi, and and then you got to just it's pounds per square inch, and then you've got to figure the diameter or the whatever the size is, and figure the area of that so you know what the strength of the bolt is, and then NAS I think is usually 160,000 psi, and then there's some odd ones that are high strength, they're close tolerance, and all these different kinds of bolts and hardware, but and a lot of those NAS bolts are shear bolts, so they won't hold in tension, but they'll hold in shear because the heads are real small. So you can't use them for in tension, but in an area where you have limited space, you can use them for a shear bolt. And I don't know if you all understand what the difference between tension and shear. Tension is a bolt where you're stretching a bolt like a head bolt. Head bolts on an engine are in tension, and something that's holding in a clevis where you have something like this, and you got something else up inside there, and you got a bolt through that. That's in shear where it's trying to go this way, and then you really don't even need to torque it. Usually, you just bring it down so it's snug, and it's in double shear actually, so it's twice the strength in shear. And you can look up the shear strength of all these different bolts. And I'm going to get into the weeds. I'm sorry. Kim always says I get too far into the weeds. Well, by the way, I see this genuine aircraft hardware up here. There was a guy that started that years ago. He has since passed away, but it was a family. Oh, it says right there, family owned. It's his family. It's a family owned place, and they're really good people to work with. Year old Speed Flex and Aeroquip Race AN hose I used is rated for minus 50 to 400 degrees and 500 or 5,000 psi. Yeah, see, I don't know all what they have. It's just once I saw those hose clamps buried inside of something that looked like a
It
nut.
might be excellent for automotive use, but
I
aircraft standards are set
as
and you
soon
have
as
to meet them.
as soon as I saw that, I just blew it off and went somewhere else because I was looking for aircraft stuff. But maybe they have all kinds of things, and that's just one of the things they have. I don't know. It's just when I saw it,
Yeah.
I went,
And 5,000 psi, I don't know what you're doing, but you probably don't need more than that.
"Oh, Ronnie Shackelstein. Good evening, Buff and Kim, and look at what he puts there."
Oh, it's the alien face. You were wearing the alien
I
sweatshirt
wore an
earlier.
alien sweatshirt like 5 minutes before we came on, and I look up on the green screen, and the alien is green. So when I'm sitting here, it's like you can see through me the shape of the alien. So I changed sweatshirts. Otherwise, I would have had that logo right here, but you could see through me. So I had to can't wear green stuff here. I can only wear green stuff in the shop. And I have a lot of green stuff because I like military kind of things, and I like that dark green and the camo and all that. So it's like I go through shirts on Tuesday night like can't wear this, can't wear this, can't wear this, can't wear this. It's like I gotta find something I can wear in the green screen. So I don't just look like a head floating around. Uh,
B&R Racing. If the Earl's stuff is good for automotive, then I mean, yeah, tell people it's good and it works good for automotive. I'm not saying bad stuff about Earl's stuff. He's just saying for aircraft,
well, it's just
it's not
when I see
the
something
right
that
thing.
looks like a big old AN nut that screws onto something, and I see a little hole in it where you tighten a hose clamp underneath, and
So
it's just yeah, it's faux. It's like okay, it looks cool and it's fine on a car, and but I was looking for aircraft stuff, so I just like nope, not here, and I went back to aviation stuff. Um, yeah, I should probably look at Earl's because now I'm doing all car stuff. That would be fine and it would look good. Does anyone else find side post battery a pain to hook jumper cable? Yes.
Yeah.
Not
You know
just
what though?
yes, but yes. I have a pair of jumper cables, got little tiny things so I could do
Yeah.
that. And you know what? They still slip off.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
You know the way to do that
Cavo's here.
is don't let your battery go dead.
You
That's the
know, my
only way to do
Corvette,
that.
I had a 5/16 box end wrench. I kept it in a little tray in the console. And when I'd finished driving the car and I knew I was going to see, I'd leave a lot of times. I was on a going somewhere and work for weeks. I'd just go up there and I'd undo the negative battery cable and just drop it down. And then when I get home, the first thing I do is I put the battery cable back on. And it was a good battery, so car always started. And I never had to jump that car. What's
Tavo's
a
here.
battery hold down? That's the thing you're supposed to have that holds the battery down.
What's a battery hold down?
Come on.
He's
Okay.
joking. Tavo, welcome to the stream. Tavo is our friend from down under, and he comes in late. Actually, he's kind of
Oh,
early
Dean
today.
is here. Dean, I was showing you pictures and you disappeared. Or maybe you were there lurking. I don't know.
Dean was here, wasn't he?
He was here way early and then I showed
Oh,
his pictures and
well,
he
he must
never
have had something to do.
never commented. Now he's back. So maybe I should put his picture back up. But now
Well, maybe he's on his phone and he
I'm
can't
looking for
type
something
very much.
else. Yeah, that's possible.
Who says, Bob? Battery hold downs are good because if you have an abrupt stop, an accident, or even just an abrupt stop, or handling an abrupt maneuver, you don't want the big, heavy lead acid battery moving around, ripping wires out, failing in some way. So,
Aviation story. There was a replica Mustang, like a P-51 Mustang, but it was 3/4 scale, but it was a 9 positive, 9 negative G airplane, which is extremely strong aerobatic airplane. And it's a kit, so people put it together. And then I'd see them put the battery in the back, and they wouldn't put the hold down, and they put a bungee cord over it. I go, you know what? That battery it's a lead acid battery. You don't have a 9G airplane anymore. Maybe positive because the battery stays in the battery box, but negative, it's zero. That battery's going to go flying. Now it's in the back of the airplane, banging around, attached by the cables. It's extremely dangerous. And I saw that so many times. You know, yeah, get right there, buddy. Bungee cord, battery hold down. No, if you ever end up upside down, where's that battery going to go?
B&R Racing asks, Buff, are piston aircrafts still 48-volt DC systems?
Most of them are 24-volt. Most of them they call them 24-28 because it's a 24-volt battery, but the system charges at 28. Just like a car is 12 and it charges probably just under 14. So it's the same thing, but it's at they call them 24-28.
Daryl B says it sucks when you lock one down and the battery goes through the radiator. Yeah, that's unpleasant. I mean, I've driven a lot of cars with no hold downs, and I've not had a lot of problems, but it could happen. Oh, you know what? That blue truck had a busted battery because it didn't have a hold down.
Kim, can you make us
It
small
was
again?
an almost new battery, and it was busted. It had a hole popped in it from bouncing around where it shouldn't have.
This is Kim's car, her 66 Dart, and she has a habit of just putting batteries there, and the hold down by gravity. So I made that thing before we went to No Name
It's a
Nationals.
really nice hold down.
It's just a piece of tubing and two little pieces of steel I bent in a brake and weld it together and put it on there. It's like that battery's, if that car ever ends up upside down or on its side or something, that battery would be right there.
It'll rip the battery tray out.
The worst thing that'll happen is is you'll have some leakage, but you won't have two positive and negative poles hitting steel or something in a giant short in a crash.
Mexican spec. You want to see magic? Check this out. We can get larger and smaller dynamically. Whoa! There you go. Look at that.
That's pretty good.
We have all the power. I have the power. I have computer.
Oh, and
powers.
we've been talking. We're gonna have some new features in the studio here,
We're working.
and we're working on it. So that
I want to
surprise
get
is
an
coming up.
Elgato Stream Deck. It'll make it really easy. You'll have buttons like a keyboard, but separate.
So
It's
while I'm
fun.
here looking at your pictures, what else do we have here?
Tavo says he does not work at a museum. It is his own Chrysler Aussie museum. He runs his own museum. And Spec says, we all have our own museums. We don't all have our own museums, but several of us have our junkyards or
Oh, that
museums.
thing.
Um,
What else we got here? I'm just pulling up some of your pictures.
Thank you.
Of
There's
course,
my motor.
of course, it doesn't look like that now because it's just empty in there.
Yeah,
The
it looks
engine's
very
out.
hollow compared to how it looked when it was running. There's
There
my
it is.
car.
Some of you saw it. No name nationals like that with current registration and insurance, and car looks pretty good. And it got us there and back.
Yeah.
Well, it got her there, got her partway back, and then got both of us back.
That image even makes the paint look nicer than it is. Like looks shiny
You know,
and stuff.
Well, I look at that car; it never looks that shiny. But all I do is take a picture, and it always looks shiny. So I'm thinking, maybe it's shinier than I think it is. I don't know.
No. I wonder if a lot of cars that you see on YouTube look better than they really are. Just crank up the contrast a little bit, and all of a sudden, bam!
But I
it
didn't
looks
do
shiny.
anything like that. I just took a picture of it.
I know the cameras really bring out the.
I really felt good that car did so well. It was just leaking oil, and it turned out because of a pan gasket, somebody installed it, did a terrible job, and they put some silicone or something. And then when they tightened the bolt down, it just spit the gasket into the pan. So there's a giant hole, a hole like this big. So all the oil's falling out of the engine. But we didn't know that when we were there. It was coming from the back, so it looked like, it's getting all over the clutch.
I made a quick video on my channel, Kim Fixes Things, about the problem we found with the oil pan gasket. So if you're curious to see why it was leaking profusely from the rear of the engine, there's a little close-up video of what we found, and it was pretty definitive. I like when I find a definitive mistake. Like, this is the reason it was leaking. Someone did this part wrong.
Isn't that nice when you know you found the
Yeah,
problem?
because then you know when you put it back together that it probably will work because you figured out what was wrong. JB says you'll have it back, Kim, stronger, better, faster. It will be because it has new rings. Well, it has a whole new bottom end with better rings. And then I just ported the cylinder head, back cut the valves so that they, not back cut, but unshrouded the valves. So it should breathe real nice. And everything that worked before will continue to work like it did. And it ran pretty good before, and now it will run better.
I'm going to put this picture back up.
Okay. Mexican Sex says you didn't even take a red pill. Crazy. We are not in, what's that? It's right on the tip of my tongue.
Let me see your tongue. I don't see it.
The book that was also a movie where Alice in Wonderland. We're not in Alice in Wonderland. He's saying that to get bigger and smaller, we should have to take a pill. That's something maybe we consider. Maybe we get some pills and be like, okay, Buffalo Camp, we got to take the pill so we can get bigger. Now we got to get smaller.
Okay, Dean.
It might be fun.
Okay, Dean, what's going on here? Or this is where he stops commenting. Maybe that's why he's so quiet. He didn't want to comment.
You
on this.
embarrassed them.
I don't know. I'm like asking about the white.
They were
lights
talking
and
about the car earlier.
the white. Yeah, but Dean wasn't.
Oh, okay.
And Tavo says it's a Vauxhall Velox. It's just I'm mixing it up with Terrence Seymour. So let's see. Yeah, I wanted to bring that back up.
Tavo says, I work for a tractor dealership, the name of which I am not allowed to mention as part of our work social media policy. Good job, Tavo. We know, but we won't say it.
I got a real good idea what it is.
Don't say it. It might be green.
I was going to say, do you like green?
Right.
Yeah, because where did he see that? Because he wrote me an email or something with the part number and everything and the cost. It was like, wow. but it was like a down under price and part number.
Buddy Carfano says pictures lie. Go look a car to buy. Nothing like the photo. That is
Man, I'm about to do that too.
yeah. When you get there, all of a sudden the it's like us, right? We've got this nice camera, right? And we're all fuzzy and glowy and we look nice, but in person, we're both ugly and old and yucky.
You're not
Ah,
you're not so old.
no, but
I don't feel old, but I look at the number and it's like, whoa.
I,
I remember when I was a kid, somebody 70, they were like probably not even around anymore. And I'm 70.
not everybody
Man.
appreciates the self-deprecating humor. I am joking. We are who we are.
Yeah, our stuff isn't painted red or blue. Dean Stevens says, I know him. Yeah, okay, you know him. Well, yeah. So tell us a story about that picture. Must have been something interesting going on there. You got a jack under it. I don't see any space between the tire and the ground, but you're taking lug nuts off, or maybe you're tightening them. And there he is with that thing I call a star wrench, but that's a star wrench is something else today. So that's a I don't know. I don't know what you call them now. Trying to create an Armstrong 500 winner. You're just like Crowd and Roxborough. I don't know what that is. Dean stole the car and popped the tire, so his punishment was changing the tire.
Am I close?
Don't look old enough to steal a car, but that's
I
another.
don't know. Dean was smart. He could probably do it.
It's a four-way. Now they call it a four-way.
I called it a four-way wrench. Now, do not Google search four-way. You will not find wrenches.
Okay.
You'll get demonetized if we do
See,
that live.
we always call that a star wrench, but now
Okay, wait.
I think that's what people call.
I gotta look now.
Don't do it.
I'm gonna
Don't
get
put
a
it on.
virus.
Don't put it on the screen. Don't.
It's not on the screen. I just want to see what actually comes up if you type four-way. Oh no, it brings up a four-way electrical switch. There you go. See,
four-way
it knows. It
four-way
knows. It
switch.
finds a G-rated answer to start. AI's got it figured out.
Car pictured won the first year race that eventually evolved into the Bathurst 1000.
That's interesting.
Well, Dean, what I want to know, and what the whole discussion was earlier, was you have an amber light and a white or a clear light there. Both appear to be like in a position that would be turn signals or some kind of running lights or parking lights or something. I'm curious about that. Do they both light up for turn signals, or are they what's the story? What are you drinking?
Coffee.
Smelled funny. What'd you put in the coffee?
Chocolate milk.
That's why it smells funny.
Yeah. Ha ha.
Chocolate, milk, and coffee. What is it? Is that mocha?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I can imagine being that age and having the wrench and being allowed to do something like that. I had a neighbor down the street when I was probably 8 or 9 years old. He tore a 53 GMC pickup all apart and painted it. But he took everything apart and it had a wood floor, whatever you call it, in the back in the bed floor was all tore up wood, and he did it all in steel diamond plate and then put the truck all back together. And he let me undo bolts and take emblems off and help him disassemble that truck and help him put it back together. And that was so cool because I wasn't allowed to do anything like that at my house because I'd made some mistakes and caused a lot of trouble. But it was really cool. He let me work on his truck, This is One-Eyed Cat's here. Good evening.
Welcome to the stream.
Tim says maybe I'm just old, but I called it that a lug wrench. Yeah, to me they were lug wrenches, but to me a lug wrench is more generic because the one that has one handle on it's a lug wrench, or that's a lug wrench, or I don't know. But that one we always called a star.
I
But now they're
never called it a
oh,
star.
I'm like way older than you. So that was like probably in the 1950s, you know. Geez, by the time 1960 came around, I was 6 years old. Yeah,
I think we called it a four-way. Four-way
and that's
wrench. Four-way lug
possible.
wrench. You know what I saw? We have a four-way that has metric. Two of them are metric, and the other two are other sizes.
When somebody says four-way, you know what I think of? The flashers. The
Oh yeah,
button
yeah,
you
yeah.
push where all four
Well, that's why it's called a
things go.
four-way wrench, so you know that it's not four-way
Flasher.
flashers.
Like it
They're
says,
making fun of his bowl cut haircut. Hey,
that's not a bowl cut.
that's been a very long time since
A
he had
bowl
that
cut is like
haircut.
above your ears where they just put a bowl in and then my mother used to laugh. She'd cut our hair, and she'd cut her hair with these clippers that she bought. She'd take everything off and leave like about an eighth of an inch. And that's a haircut I had when I was a kid.
Mike N can relate. Says I had a bowl cut too and had white blonde hair. Mike asks who the picture is because he must have just come in. Welcome to the stream, Mike N.
That's Dean Stevenson from in New Zealand, working on his what is that thing? Vauxhall Velox, or probably his father's Vauxhall Velox or mother's or something. I am not making fun. I am asking a question. Where is that? Where is that? You and Dean are twins from different continents.
Danny Boyd, I don't think Chinese eyes is an appropriate
What?
is an appropriate way to describe facial features. You should work on that.
Well, maybe
I
maybe Dan is Asian. I don't know.
I don't know that I need to police it, but I don't know if that's really the most appropriate.
Bowl cut is the Mo Howard. um, I saw something as I was going to say. Oh, Mexican Spec says my wife cuts my hair. Kim cut my hair once, and I cut it once and then had her fix it. So that's why she got into cutting my hair. But there's a barber I go to because I don't. It's like I don't want to give her a chore to do and expect her to cut my hair. So I go to a barber. Man, throat.
Mexican spec asks why not. It's like I don't know. It just seems like it's like asking for someone to get up in your business.
Oh yeah, Mrs. One Eyed Cat. She cuts Don's hair. I remember you just did that like last week, didn't you? Uh, that was like going on during the chat. They were having a haircut.
Oh, really?
Dirt Road Landing says since yeah that medical problem we had, uh, I've been cutting my own hair like high and tight haircuts. I think I wouldn't look right with a high and tight haircut because my age is not right for that. But maybe. Well, I don't know, just the military look from the 70s, 80s. I don't know. Let's see, where am I? Kim, can you catch up for me? Uh, like why not
Um.
Kim from Mexican Spec on down? I think.
Okay. B&R Racing says we have a giant four-way lug wrench at work for semi trucks and old Bud wheels. I think it's 70 years old. Had to use it 1 week ago. Power was out. Oh, there you go.
Yeah,
Yeah, most people
go
don't
back to
use those anymore.
manual
They
wrenches. Yeah.
use electric wrenches, impact or air impact wrenches. Sometimes I got to put the four-way on there and step on it and yank real hard because the air wrench just won't, or the electric one just won't do it. So it's good to have the old reliable on standby. I have a Sid Chrome cross like that, but only one hex 3/4. The opposite end has a rubber plug for knocking hubcaps back on. One end of the sidebars has a hubcap removal hook.
I've
Yeah, I
seen
remember
those.
having the 3 wrenches and a hook. I remember seeing those. Um, I don't know what that word that Mike is saying. Fold. I don't know what it is. I'm sorry. Uh, okay, thanks, Mexican Spec. Dan, it's an old shop. George's father opened in 1938. That's how you know they have the good stuff, hopefully. See, if it's been around since through the process of 1938, anything that was garbage got broken and discarded. So they have the good stuff on hand because they've tried all the junk. Uh, commute Dirt Road Landing says more like a computer engineer's haircut.
Wait, you missed one. Four-way is also kind of Cincinnati chili. Really?
Oh,
I
okay.
don't know.
If it cannot fold is the technical term for uh, a
Asian,
particular eye shape,
Asian-looking
the
eyes.
Asian eye shape. Okay. Yeah. You know what? Now that you say that, I remember watching makeup tutorials because depending on the shape of your eyes, you do makeup differently. So they used that word so they could explain, when you're working in this area, if you have this shape of eye. So if you want to say it in a technical way, I guess you could just call it
Mex,
Chinese yourself,
Mex,
whatever you
Mexican Spec says you guys cheat with your power and air tools. That's the same as Dr. Art tuning a car with a computer. Hey, wait a minute. We
I
just did
cheat.
a video and it's
Okay.
up and it was live from the shop and you can see Kim manually taking bolts loose because she whacks on the wrench really hard with her foot. And it's all in there. It's not power wrenches. It's like foot power wrenches.
Oh,
She just
no.
took her foot and went wham, and then it
Mexican
was
spec.
loose.
Any opportunity I can find to use an impact wrench to save my shoulders or, you know, labor saving devices, I am absolutely going to do it. You don't think I filed the shrouding out of that head with a hand file, do you? I used a
Oh,
a Dremel, a big die grinder, electric die grinder. Yes.
remember the old drills had
Yes.
a nylon gear like this, and you crank. I don't know if you ever saw one of those.
I'm
They had,
not using it to port.
I'm thinking you could pour it with that. Zzz.
Labor saving devices. I'm absolutely going to use them. Is it cheating? I don't know. What are we Amish? Are we not allowed to use any tool designed after 1950 something or whatever the
Take,
Amish rule
take
is?
the head to the Amish and ask them to pour it,
They would.
and then they see if they can do it by hand.
They would. If you told them what to do, they'd do it. But ooh, that might be a really good money making thing. Is take them stuff to forge. I'll bet you they're
The thing with the Amish
detail
was I
oriented.
watched Amish work and they couldn't drive and there's things they couldn't do. But they had people that drove them in a van to the work site and they used all the tools anybody else would use and they were really good workers. I watched them build homes, and it was good stuff. And then they went home and at home they lived without a lot of the stuff we live with.
Exactly. Daryl B says it's called work smart, not hard. It's still cheating. Okay, I'm a cheater. I mean, I don't really believe it's cheating. What do we do in here that it's cheating? What rule set are you referring to? I have one of those crank drills if you'd like to use it for porting. I'll
You
pass
okay?
Tavo.
So there's a guy that remembers one because he's about might be close to my age. But in his younger days, he remembers those crank drills. Like that's what my father had. He had a crank drill, and one day, I don't know, it was before I was a teenager. He brought home an electric drill that was metal and had a cord on it, and I thought that was so cool. I wasn't allowed to touch it. He let me use the drill like this.
KJ Cowley says power tools never get tired. That is not true.
No, they break.
We just wore out a
I've broken
angle
them.
grinder. We didn't break it.
Oh no, we
We
wore it
wore it
out.
out.
Wore it out, but just won't angle grind anymore.
Just won't go. If you shake it, it'll go jing jing jing. It's probably got the either one of the cords is wiggled too many times and now the wire's busted off, or the brushes are worn down, probably from getting metal dust sucked through the fan in it. But I mean, it's a lot of years old, and we used it a bunch, and it's like, well, we have another one now. So yeah, they wear out. Same with batteries. You got to have batteries on. We always have a couple batteries on tap, so it's not a problem here. But I've worked plenty of places where it's like you use the power tools until the batteries die. You know, so yeah, no, they get tired, and sometimes the electric tools are more work, right? Like I just want to hammer a nail in. I don't want to have to break out the air compressor and
Wait a minute.
drag out a bunch of hose
I
and
have
use
that.
the air nailer for
I
a couple of
I
nails.
have that battery powered nailer that is incredibly strong.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's great.
It's got a flywheel in there, and when you pull that trigger, it's wham, the nail goes in. It's amazing.
But you got to have special nails for it. And if you run out of
Yeah.
nails,
Yep.
then
Yep. Yep.
it's a liability,
Then
not an
you're
asset.
yeah. Then you're back to the hammer and the box of nails.
Man, the new impact drivers will put in a deck screw like nobody's business. Like, how else are you going to put a deck screw in? You're not going to put deck screws in by hand. I don't even think you can put enough torque on them with one of those little winder things. Without an impact driver, you're putting nails in your deck, and it's not as good a quality outcome. So, and then EFI is the next logical um, progression, right? A good regular carburetors, right? They have an idle jet and then they have a main jet. It's two, right? It runs either at the idle setting or runs at the main setting. And there's some other things inside so it can run in two phases, right? And then the throttle setting is another, so it has three controls, right? But then if you go with like a 4-barrel carburetor, they're more expensive so they can put more effort in it. And it probably has it has like a main jet and a cruise jet and a power valve. So it's got multiple, maybe it has 4 or 5 or 6. But if you go to electronic fuel injection, it has a computer table and it has maybe 16 or 32 adjustment, and it bases its input on a oxygen sensor, and like the complexity can be really really good when it all works, but when it doesn't work and it's designed bad, it's trouble.
I want to say something about my can because it's going to scroll up and go away. It was years before I bought a pickle fork. Should have got one years ago. I was using everything other than that for years for the ball joints and the tie rod ends. Do you have is it a manual, whack it with a hammer pickle fork, or is it on the end of an air chisel that goes drink and then stuff comes apart? Because I miss I don't know what happened to my pickle fork that goes in my air chisel. And that thing is like, you don't even have to think about it. You just go drink once and they come off. Right now we have the manual and you got to whack with a hammer and sometimes.
Or a couple sledgehammers. Usually if you hit it right with the sledgehammer, you don't even need a pickle fork too much.
And then the next thing I want to say is Dirt Road Landing says, "What am I drinking?" Yeah, I'm not sure. Oh, generic zero cola.
Food Lion brand 0-calorie cola, because it's good. um
Yeah, whack it with a hammer.
Mexican Spec is plugging a upcoming special invited guest. So Mexican Spec will be a special guest on Fun with Cars live at 3 p.m. Pacific time this Saturday, and he has put a link there. So maybe click on that and check the reminder or the bell or something like that, and you can see Mexican Spec. Are you going to be in person, or are you going to do that incognito thing that you always
Mexican
do?
Spec always does the incognito
Always
thing.
does the incognito thing, but he still is a fun guest. We like him. We want to support him. So check out this Fun Cars live.
I got to get a picture
Oh,
of this.
this is the way he keeps track of things.
Then I can go back to it and find that link because I won't remember it on Saturday. I don't know if I should bring it up here. Mexican Spec, you go on these things and you like there's a dot or something and you're talking. I think you should have some kind of a logo that's like looks like something like a guy on a car or something that kind of ties Mexico in. I don't know, and use that as your always like I have that stupid thing that has the round thing with the guy with the mustache. That's my logo. And then we look up there, I'll just like, oh, Mexican Specs here. instead of waiting to hear your voice, and then I go, oh, Mexican Specs here. Of course, your voice is distinctive enough that I know who it is. So, yeah, let's see. Because one time he was on Uncle Tony's, and it was just a green square. It was like a green screen, and that was Mexican Spec. Jay made that for me, an AI type of thing. AI,
Yeah, Mexican
yes.
Spec says Jay at Fun with Cars made a funny
Oh,
avatar for me in place of my face. It's a riot.
oh,
Okay,
I
well
see.
that'll
Well,
be fun to
good, good,
see.
good. Okay, because I
We'll
maybe I
mark it
can
on
see
our
it.
calendar for 5.
Tavo says
That's
it's
pretty late. Okay.
sombrero, sombrero. See, I
Okay.
like those things because, like working out in the sun in Yuma, Arizona. It's like, man, there were guys that wore those, but because they keep the sun off the neck and off everything. What a great hat! But I had to have a headset on because I'm talking to people in the airplanes, and I can't wear a hat. I got to wear a hat like this to get the headset over it. So I kind of missed out on that. But if I were out there, not on a headset, that's what I'd be wearing.
B&R Racing says Ford has the best EFI system prior to the LS-X era today. The 1980s into the 1990s for EEC4 EFI computer could be tuned for 1,000 horsepower boosted 5.0 Mustangs. Interesting. I've never worked with those computers, and I'm learning slowly about the tuning from Dr. Art's Hot Rod Rehab. He tunes engine computers, and so I try and watch and listen to some of his experience. And I think that if I ever get into working on a car, like I have that 360 engine, it's got a computer that can be
Yeah.
tuned. So if we ever get into doing that, I'm definitely going to talk to Dr. Art, and he has invited me to. Yeah, if you ever do that, let me know, and I'll help you out. So, I don't know. That's not the direction the channel's going right now, but
No. Yeah, because we're kind of like 60,
it's
70s cars.
interesting. I'm not against EFI. EFI engines make more power, and they can be more efficient if they are. I just
Well, you can specifically tune them the way you want, which is kind of fun.
for the everyday driver turnkey operation in all kinds of weather conditions. An EFI uh, automobile is yeah, it's good. It's really
Mexican
good to have.
Mexican Spec says I am upset it wasn't a green screen this last time. I wanted that to be my thing. Yeah, well, you could always claim that you everything about you is green, so they can't see you because all you see is the green screen, right?
You could say that.
You could say that. Dirt road landing. The International Navistar 7.3 Power Stroke Turbo Diesel in the 1990s Ford pickups were very good. Man, well, I worked at a place and they gave me a truck to use. Uh, it was the same truck a lot, and it was a Ford 7.3 turbo diesel, Navistar engine. That thing was great. I towed trailers with that thing and never have to go into the granny low. It just even starting uphill, just let the clutch out and just chug away from anything easily. And then the next truck that we used for the shop, they got rid of that one and they got one of those 6.0. You couldn't do that. You had to start in granny low. It ran like 1,000 RPM higher, and it was not an enjoyable truck to drive compared to the 7.3. So I know the difference. Okay, Tavo, you want to read this? Because I'm.
Tavo says the same EEC4 was used on the Falcons Down Under into the early 2000s. Well, it must have been a proven technology that they kept using. B&R Racing says it is an era gone by. Chicago, Illinois, and all suburbs Generation X were racing. National Mustang Racing Association and National Muscle Car Association. Yeah, I missed out on the Mustang racing era. I know Tony was involved a lot with the fast
Yeah, and see,
Mustangs.
and that's what I want now is a Fox body, although it'll probably end up being a Fairmont because the Mustangs are pretty darn expensive. But I like the Fox bodies. I've had a lot of Fox bodies in the past, like way in the past, and there are some clean ones out there that aren't rusty, that are still pretty good, and I would really enjoy having one again. So, yeah, it's a
Mexican
different it's
specs.
a different era, but we've got A-body Chryslers around here. I kind of wouldn't mind having a Fox again. Yeah.
Mexican Spec asks Tavo, why are Falcons worth so much over there? And that's in Australia. And Tavo replies, because they're good cars, Mexican Spec. Robert Owen, welcome to the stream, says hello all, or hey all.
Hey
So,
all. Hey all.
welcome. Mexican Spec says, I'm working with a guy over there. He showed me a US spec two-door Falcon was for sale for 37,000 Australian dollars. That is crazy, but will make us both money. Well, advertised price and sale price are different, but maybe it is a good way to make some money is ship some of them cars if they're available in one place and in demand somewhere else. That's business.
Tim's taking off. Good night, Tim. Thanks for stopping by.
Good night. Thank you for being here.
Mexican Spec says, Buff, if you looked for a Fox body, LTD or T-Bird Marquis Cougar. There's one T-Bird that I'm seriously looking at, but it's probably like my second or third choice right now, depending on what else gets sold. And then the Cougars I really dislike because of that near vertical back window. That just hurts my eyes to look at that. The Marquis and the LTD probably not. I've been looking at Fairmonts, Zephyrs, T-Birds, what other Fox body? Of course, the Mustangs, but all the Mustangs are.
He's been trying to stay out of the premium markup stuff because he
Mustangs
doesn't
are
want to
just-
race it.
They're just too much money, and I'm not getting for that car what I wanted.
And the reason is just for what B&R Racing is saying. The Fox body has been rated the best street race drag two-door coupe, along with the Chevy Nova. Those cars are what everybody wants to make drag cars out of.
And that's the other car I look at is the 68 through 72, maybe 74.
They're
Chevy-
very desirable.
Chevy Novas and the Pontiac Ventura 2
And when you
God.
see them, they
But
are
they're
pieces of
crazy.
garbage.
They're either crazy expensive
They're
or
stripped down,
or they're total junk.
no windows in them, all the paint's
Yeah.
off of them. Every smidgen of trim has been stripped off of them. Any part that could be sold on eBay because you could ship it has been stripped off the car. So it's just a husk of a car and no title, bill of sale only. In Georgia, you don't need a title, so there's none. Good luck getting one.
Mexican Spec says the Cougar he means is the 81 and 82 that looks like the Granada, and it even came in a wagon. You said Mercury Granada. Here they were Mercury. What the heck were they? Before Granada and Mercury, something else. There was the same car. They're just like a little heavier, little more luxury car. The Fairmont I want is one of the little chop top the Futuras, and I'll find one. I think that's probably what I'll end up with. Of course, the T-Birds are okay too.
Tavo, thank you for coming in. He's got to go back
he's
to
got
work.
taken out. Okay, all right, Tavo. Yeah, have fun.
We look forward to seeing you. Thank you very much for being here.
Yeah, Monarch, the Mercury Monarch and the Ford Granada, the second gen that was on the Fox body. I don't know. They're just a little heavier, a little bigger. They don't have the low top. I don't know. I kind of like that top. That's like, I don't like that big box top looking thing. I've had those, and they're kind of big, clunky looking cars. Oh, they might be good, Well, I had a wagon that was really good, but it was a wagon. The Futura though, I've had those, and they just look better because the top isn't so damn high. Mexican Spec, we will be sending Mexican cars over, which are 289 or 302 with 4-speed manual. Oh, over to Australia. All states respect the Georgia registration.
As the title.
Do they?
I'm curious how that works. That's interesting to know, though. I didn't realize that.
One of the cars I'm looking at's in Georgia, and it's a T-Bird, and I'm a little concerned with the title mess that I might create for myself. But if they respect it, there's one Mustang I was looking at. It was the price is pretty good on it. Has 4-cylinder in it, the Pinto engine in it, and which I don't mind because in the Crossmember same as 302. So I could drive it for a while with 4-cylinder in it. And then didn't build a small block Ford, but and the price was pretty good. But then the guy I'm trying to correspond with, it takes him a week to get me some pictures I asked for. He had no pictures of the interior. Finally got that, and then he says he doesn't have a title. He owes money on it. Well, get that straightened out, and then we'll talk. So that's the only Mustang I've been really serious about, or I was till I found out he had title issues. Let's see. Mexican Spec says nobody. The Mercury Granada in 1981 was the Cougar. Oh, it could have been. I don't know. And then the Mexican names and the U.S. names are kind of no buff. There was never a Fox Body Monarch. Okay, you're probably right. They changed the name to Cougar. Yeah, Ford and their damn name games. They also sold the T-Bird Cougar at the same time. That's terrible because that T-Bird looking Cougar had that near vertical, or maybe it was vertical back window, and I think that you had this nice sleek looking car and this like straight up and down window. It's like, oh my god, that just hurts my eyes to look at that thing. BNR says maybe you'll get lucky buff and find an early 79 through 82 Fox Body Mustang 2.8 V6 base engine. Did they? I thought they all had inline sixes, but maybe not. Maybe the early ones did have the 2.8. Swap to a Ford V8 or any other engine you want. Here's the thing with the Fox bodies: the 4-cylinder Pinto engine and the V8s use one cross member, and the inline six use a different cross member. Now I don't know about the 2.8, but the 4-cylinder is an easy swap. I've done it. You just bolt everything in. The 6-cylinder is a little more. You either got to change a cross member or something. Yeah, it's more work. But I don't care. I'd get one. What you looking at? What you looking at? A bunch of Mustangs.
Fox. I wanted to see if there was like a lineup of Fox Body. AI gives you, uh, Ford Fairmont, Mercury Zephyr, Ford Durango, Ford Mustang, SVO, and Continental Lincoln Mark 7.
He says the Buff says you're talking about the 83 and up Cougar with a vertical elegant roof. I wouldn't call it elegant, but I guess that's what Ford thought it was. I thought it was just hurt my eyes to look at that window. I don't ever want one of those. It'd have to be a screaming deal. Yeah, like look at the Mustang front ends I like are like the 79, 80, 81, and then I think it was 83 and 84 had like a grill that kind of pointed down in the front. I kind of like those too. After that, I really don't like the way they look.
I kind of like that.
That's the early one. What, the orange one?
Yeah.
Yeah, the orange one's like the 79, 80,
Yeah, I kind of
81.
like my brother had one when I was a kid.
And right there it says the Fox Body Mustang is ugly. See, and I don't agree with that. I don't know. I guess everybody has their own taste. I don't know. I've been looking at one T-Bird though that's a God, what is it? 80 something T-Bird. But I don't know. It's not at the top of my list. Durango's a fair amount with a bed. Yeah, Durangos are pretty cool looking, but anybody that has a Durango thinks they're worth. It's like it's made out of gold. And what the heck, well, a Durango is a Futura that went to some shop where they made Durangos out of them. They cut the top off and they put a bed back there, and that whole big tail light comes down as a tailgate. It's a cool looking car. I mean, it looks just like a Futura, but has a bed in the back. But people that have those there weren't very many of them, and so they want crazy amount of money for them. Yeah, so I really need a car with back seat, and that I'll put something in once in a while. And I don't know. I need to replace the Mazda with something that might be a little more fun than the Mazda and cheaper because they're not going to pay me what I would like to get. But did you see the 82 Mustang GT I posted? Yes, I did. It's too much money for me. I'm sorry. I would take everything I got plus a little. And it's just Fox Mustang looks better. 99% of junk sold built today. And a lot of what I see of a Fox Body Mustang is when I'm sitting in it. And I like the dash. I like looking over the hood. I like the way they drive. And then when I'm working on it, it's just I know them so well that just it's comfort level of working on it. It's good spec. They don't issue title to old cars. It says on a registration. Oh yeah, that's a Georgia thing. Seems to me there's another state that does that too. Title and registration usually are different documents, although back in Massachusetts you did not need a title to register something, huh? See, because I thought Georgia, at some point, at some age of vehicles, the title and the registration became the same document.
This
What
is
are you
what a
looking at?
title in Tennessee looks like.
Hmm. Do they all have holes in it like that?
Only the good ones have holes in them. It looks sort of like a birth
Dean
certificate or something
Stevenson's
like that.
back. Let's see.
This one's for the Ford truck that I bought to take the motor out of.
Under 350 Durangos made. Exact numbers aren't well known, if I remember right, but it was under 350. That I believe, and there are probably, of course, fewer than that left. Dean Stevenson's the early first 3 years of Fox's, they had a 33 to 38 mile per gallon highway figures for the 5-speed 2.3 80 horsepower carb versions. So, I like those. I have taken those and converted them to V8s, and you just drop a 5 liter in them, and it's just a.
When did you do that?
When did I do that?
Uh-huh.
In the 80s, probably.
Ooh, man.
Yeah, it was when I had the second radiator shop, so I did several of them. And then I did a couple after that. Yeah, Vermont might be one of those too. I'm not sure. I know it seems to me there was one more other than Georgia. I know for my 96 Camaro and 2001 4Runner, I'm not sure what that was. Again, this is in the 2010s. Not sure what that's about because I missed it. All it says registrations were about the car being legal to drive. A title or bill of sale is any kind proved ownership of a property dispute came up. Yeah, I don't know. It's just some states don't have titles
Okay, so here's
for
the
old cars.
here's interesting things that are from our perspective, right? I came from Pennsylvania, and you have to have a title. If you don't have a title, you don't own the car. You cannot
Same here.
register the car. The whole deal, right? And you can't transfer a title. You can't just sign a title and give it to somebody. You have to go to a notary, and they have to file paperwork with the state, and then the state issues a reissued title to the new owner. And you have to do that through a notary. You cannot sign that stuff when there's not a notary standing in front of you. It has to be, you have to pay for all that, yada, yada, yada. And you have to pay taxes on that transaction. So every time it changes hands, the title has to go with it. So if you get the title and you're holding the title, but it's not signed and notarized by the previous owner still owns it. And if something happens to them, you can't get in touch with them. They go to prison, they die. You're kind of out of luck because you cannot become the owner of the vehicle. That's in Pennsylvania. It's a very difficult process.
You bring that up. I was a notary in Ohio, and I had a partner, and we had the buy here, pay here, used car lot, which I never suggest doing. That's a terrible business. But we had a car with a title and not signed, and the guy was in jail. So I went to the jail, and they let me in the back and the table, and I sat there and I notarized his signature on it and got out of there. So that was sort of interesting. I sat there in jail, notarized the document.
And if you were leasing a car or you were making payments on the car, the title is held by the leaseholder or the if you still owe money on the title, if it's encumbered, right? They don't give you a title in Pennsylvania, so it's owned by the bank until you finish paying for it. In Tennessee, it's very different, and you can go and borrow money against your title, and it can have a lien on it. And so the lien holder has the title, but you have the car, you have possession, but they hold the title because you owe them money. So people will borrow money on their car and then wreck it. And now the car is not really worth anything. So they don't want to pay it off, but they want to sell it to somebody so they can get a little bit of money out of it as parts or whatever. But you can never own the car because somebody else holds the title for it. So that's a very different situation because you cannot do that in Pennsylvania. It doesn't work that way. So it's different here. You have to know the laws and rules and stuff
Every
depending
state's
on where
different.
you're at. I
And
didn't
that's
know that. When I lived in Pennsylvania, I grew up there. I thought it was the same everywhere.
well, a Mexican spec, of course, knows a lot about this because he dealt in cars when he lived in the U.S. and probably every state. You know, he probably dealt with all that kind of stuff. Um, the CPNR says he met up with Two Hacks Jeff. You want to read this stuff because it's going fast, and I'm not fast.
B&R said I was at Byron Raceway, Illinois Sunday meetup with Two Hacks Jeff, a brand new Shelby.
Yeah,
I'll
it
get
went
it.
away.
I'll get
It
it.
went away.
A brand new Shelby Super Snake Mustang stock turned 138 quarter trap speeds. Nice, brand new. You would hope that it goes that fast. That's quick. It's fast for a street car.
Can you
Some
roll?
states like Georgia and New York don't title old cars. Mike asked what part of PA. I got family. I Pittsburgh area, so the western part of Pennsylvania. Um, yeah, nowhere near Amish country. Back home, a title would be a special legal document that was optional. Yeah, in some states it's not optional; it's required. That's why I left PA many years ago. Yeah, I mean, I didn't even know I was escaping that stuff when I left, but I'm glad I'm out of it. Dean Stevens says even the 4.2 liter V8 did 110 miles an hour at 24.5 miles a gallon, 0 to 60 in 11.2 seconds as an automatic. Wow, that's a fast car. And taxes got crazy high. There will be, yes, taxes are high. Things are tough all everywhere. If I dig around, I think I still have the title to my old Turismo from ages ago. See, in some states, if you still had the old title, you still own the car. So, and they keep track. They know. They can research it. They can back search it. Shaquille Shaka. Hi, Buff and Kim. Welcome to the stream. Thanks for stopping
Good
in.
evening.
I'm sure seen Lales. I'm sure lean sales are a thing in PA just like anywhere else. Yes, they are Mexican spec, and the people who do lean sales, they learn the process, and it's something you can work through. Um, Kim, if you read the DMV rules, there are always ways to get around everything. It's true, Mexican spec. There are ways to work through with the system, especially if the car is not stolen. it's
That's
it's
when you run into
there is
problems.
usually a path to get things resolved. Buddy Carfano makes sure the VIN number matches the title. Friend bought a truck that didn't match and unable to register. Yeah, that's the thing. That can happen. You do want to mind your
I had
P's
that
and
happen
Q's.
not long ago and forced the issue and got the right title because it's the wrong title.
Mexican Spec says that is not true, Kim. If a car had a lien sale done at that invalidates any previous titles in existence. Yes, it does. And I heard a situation about what was it now? A car rental place out west was running into issues where cars were getting rapidly lien sailed by impound lots, and they thought they owned them, and then the new owner, paid for them and got title, but now there's multiple titles issued, and chain of ownership was very unhappy and messy, and so hopefully people are not running into those problems because when it does go wrong, it's problemsome, but there is a path. And then the people who have those titles from lien sales, they actually do have the upper hand because the people went through the process. Poor Turismo borrowed time from Unibody Rot. He was named Junior and was a cutie, though. Ugh, the Northern Body Rot. Ugh, I do not miss that. I never will. BNR Racing says if there is a title problem in Illinois, DMV and state police make it miserable. Ooh, that's one of those states that you don't want to be in that spot where title is
I
unclear.
did a lien sale for me, but I was 17 years old, so I didn't know what I was doing. Somebody says just do a lien sale. So I learned the process the hard way by making a lot of mistakes and listen to people at DMV. And sometimes you get somebody that knows what they're doing, and sometimes the person behind the counter gives you bad information. And yeah, it was a difficult thing. And but that's because I didn't know what I was doing. It's like Mexican spec says, research it and know what you're doing first. But I knew people that, I worked at, worked driving tow trucks, and I know they did lean sales because you got cars that nobody wanted and they just left them there and didn't pay the bill. So then they had to do lean sales just to just to get rid of them, because the junkyards didn't even want them until they had the title.
The DMV here in our part of Tennessee, in Clarksville, is fantastic. It's not called a DMV. It's called the county clerk.
It's the county clerk's office, yeah.
They're great. It's a big office. They're super fast, super efficient. The lines go quickly. They're super friendly.
Oh, you sit down with a number and you're thinking, okay, DMV, I'm going to be sitting here for an hour or so, and sitting there for like a minute
The
talking to Kim,
taxes are a
and
little bit
they're already
high.
calling me.
The taxes are a little bit high. But but if I'm going to have to pay taxes and fees, I at least expect good service. Like I know back home, they were like kind of miserable and not all that eager to help you, and it was expensive there too. So, like, I like it here. I think the system that they have going here is pretty good. I like it. Um, Nobody likes it when things go wrong. It might have changed, but back in the 90s, all you had to do was submit a document saying you did the lien sale, and they issue a title. I asked if they checked the process, and they said no. Hmm.
The place my car is, I'm looking down here, BNR Racing says check out police auctions. I don't know where any of that stuff was because when I lived in California, I knew where all that kind of thing was. But the place where my car ended up is an auction place. So I don't know. It's probably got a lot of wrecked cars in there, but I'm thinking that's a place if they'll auction. I don't know if they auction only to dealers or only to junkyards or what, but if they auction to the public, I'd be interested in going up there sometime and learning, just watching it, see what's going on. And Kim will probably see things she wants. I'll probably see things I want. But yeah, it's been a while since I've been to an auction. I used to go to the auctions in Ohio when I had the buy here, pay here used car lot, and I bought cars at auctions, but they were older cars that you'd sell at a buy here, pay here used car lot. Oh, I got my Z car from a police auction. It's interesting.
Oh,
Oh,
Mexican Spec
Copart.
put up the link to Copart in Nashville.
Yeah,
We haven't
I
checked that out.
was a member of Copart, but that's been years ago. It's when I was in Arizona, so I haven't been to a Copart. I don't know. Most of those cars need a lot of work, or
He
they're parts
likes
cars.
to he likes to sit at the computer and look at Facebook Marketplace. There's other ways to buy cars though.
Well, the ones I'm looking at, I want something that I can get in it and drive it, that it isn't wrecked or the first thing I do in that car is I want to drive it. I don't want to have to fix it. So, you know,
Um,
3,488 lots on sale for
they have over three
Nashville.
thousand cars for sale
Yeah, they
in
don't have what
Copart.
not what I'm looking for yet. But oh god, if there was something that showed up in Nashville, and I'm searching an 800-mile radius because I don't even want to go that far, but I would, and to get the car I want. But I'm being pretty picky about what I want. I want a late '70s, early '80s box body that's been kept in a garage by an old man or something that's got like 70,000 miles on it.
Have you
And
been on the Fox Body Mustang
there's
pages and stuff?
there's things like that around, but they're yeah, see 10 to 15 grand.
Can't do it.
I'm not getting that for my car. It's just like,
Especially not a cash sale. Like he can't even get a loan for that kind of money, let alone come up with that much cash. So,
so I'm just being real picky. And the reason I'm being picky is because I can, I guess. And I'm not
you
going to just,
should be picky.
I'm not going to get something just because
It's
I
a
need
big
something
deal.
tomorrow. I'm going to
We
get,
have a car to drive tomorrow.
I'm going to get something that what I want. And when I find the cleanest, a real clean, drivable Fox body car, I'll buy it.
Yeah.
Yeah, otherwise, I might see something else. I mean, if I found a Nova like that, I'd probably buy that
He
too. But
should take his time.
Nova's crazy
You
expensive though.
guys need to encourage him to take his time. Don't jump into
Oh,
something and
she's
then
like,
find out that you
she's
spent
afraid
all your
is
money on a piece of junk.
she's afraid I'm gonna jump into something without paying attention.
I didn't say that, but
No, but I know you're worried about
I
it.
know how it feels when you're eager to do something. I have made, look at all the poor decisions I've made with them, with automobiles in the last 2 years.
Says Buff, look at lot number. Okay,
Oh man.
I'm gonna take a picture of
Here,
this.
no,
That's not a link. Oh, you're gonna look at it there.
I'm gonna bring it up.
Okay, then I don't have to take a picture of it.
Look at this. We got technology.
What is that? A Jeep? What did he send me to?
Sent you to a Jeep.
Why do I want that? We have a Jeep. I don't want another one. Estimated retail value. I don't know. I can't read it. 27 to 4,000 or something. It's a salvage certificate. No, yeah. Well, the link is too long. Let's see here. Shaquille, this guy is saying, he's like, I don't know. What does that mean? Shaquille, what does that mean? What is that thing?
Let me see.
Something friendly.
I don't know. I don't
I don't
know
know.
what it
Okay,
means.
okay. So this is one I got. My sister-in-law went. You get your hand right over the. Can you move your mouse? There, thank you. My sister-in-law went to a notary here in PA, and they charged her almost $80 to renew her registration. Could have done it online. Man, when I was in Ohio, and the most I was allowed to charge for as a notary on a title was $2. There was no money in that. It was an annoyance, but I did it. I mean, join the Jeep Brigade. No, I was 200 current bid. Yeah, since Street Outlaws 5.0 Mustang value gone way up. 14 hours left, run and dry. Awesome. Oh, it means awesome. I guess, why is it salvage flood vehicle? Yeah, who knows?
We
Uh,
already have a Jeep.
we have a Jeep. I don't want a second Jeep. I have looked at some Jeeps and I think, what am I doing? I'm looking at another one like ours, like, so we have commonality of parts and that kind of thing. But it's like, I don't really want another one. I'm glad we have it, but I don't want another one. Um, no, I know what I want. 4.0 automatic. Yep, that's the engine that was AMC and later became the 4.0 Jeep, which is, I guess, a pretty good engine. Big Block 402 is in No Name Nationals. He had a 5.0 Mercury Capri. I think he sold it. Finds a lot of neat cars. He says, I don't have an XJ. Now, Tony has all the XJs. I don't know. It's just,
Dr. Art knows how to make them fast.
you know what? When I have
Show the right fender. Okay.
when
I'll
I
show the right
have
fender. It's smashed a little bit. There's lots of parts XJs around here though.
so when
You
I
could get parts.
there's all kinds of cars that probably I could get, but I want to get something that I'm more excited about, not something that's like, oh yeah, this is what I ended up with.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, we're not desperate to have more transportation. We have vehicles here. He's excited about getting something in particular, and if he's going to buy another vehicle, it better be something that he's really excited about.
Back in the whenever it was late '70s and early '80s, I really liked Fox bodies, and then I worked in a wheel alignment shop in 1983, and the guy there, he would try to feed the mechanics the work they like, and I always like crashes, so I'd get several Fox body Mustangs, and then I got a third gen Camaro, which the front suspension's very much like a Fox body, and they'd be stuff that people went over a curb at 70 miles an hour or something. And I fixed a lot of those cars, and I enjoyed every minute of it. So I really know the cars well. and then I had some, and I did engine swaps with them, and it's just like I'd be right at home again, and kind of want to do that. In a Jeep, I'd never feel that way. Jeep, I'd be like, oh, I got to work on it again. And the Fox body, I'd be like, oh, I'd be excited about it. Someone in No Name Nashville knows where a nice 5.0 Mustang is. Maybe needs work, but hopefully price is what you can afford to live with. Shaquille says, great stream, Kim and Buff. Thank you. Well, you're welcome. We enjoy coming here and hanging out with everybody.
Yeah, it's good talk. Like the time goes really fast because we're enjoying every minute of it. Well,
You know
maybe
what?
not every minute, but a lot of the minutes.
You know how long we've been here?
3 hours?
3 hours.
Yeah, yeah, but that's okay. I don't think we need to be done just yet, but
Okay,
maybe
that's up to you. The reason I notice that is because that's when your neck starts bothering you, and you must be getting better because you didn't get up and have to go lay down with your neck all braced up partway through the stream. You've been here. Are
yeah,
you hearing
I'm
what I'm
feeling
saying?
it though.
They're starting to feel it.
Yeah, but that's okay. Hey, you know what else though? I wore myself out yesterday doing that porting. That was very work
We can
intensive.
talk for a long time. You know what? When we're up in the shop, we blow through 4 or 5 hours sometimes up there. All the 5.0 Mustangs I know of are being hoarded, stock, mint. Ours are turned into full drag races. Yeah, that's kind of why I'm leaning toward the Fairmonts because I've had them before. I just don't like the box top Fairmonts. Wagon would be okay, I guess, but the little Futura or Zephyr Z7s, I really like those. Man, I found one that's it's not really the one I want. It's a Futura, and the guy showed me a picture with the trunk open, and there was an extra tail light in the back. Mexican spec. There was an extra full width tail light in the back of the car. And I was like, man, that's a nice thing to have. I found a nice Pinto wagon for Buff, but it's in California. Yeah, you showed me that. Uh, you know what? There's a Pinto van here. Uh, that's pretty much local. It's pretty close to me, and it's got all the. It's just the right thing, but man, it's Pinto, and the guy wants. I'd have to scrounge up some more money because it's worth more than I'm gonna get. It's kind of sad, but it's a really nice car. The little van with porthole in the back.
Oh yeah,
Remember the blue one I showed you?
pretty cool. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a really nice car, but it's yeah, I'd have to come up with more money. It's like
Yeah, I don't think either of us are really all that well put together for a trip like that right now, but we might do it anyways because if it's what he really wants, but he wants to
I'm not going all the way to
he wants to
California.
do it in a big hurry. I'm like, if we're gonna make a
Look at
big trip
this.
like that, we should make a whole thing of
Look,
it, right?
look at this. This is brown and it's showing through it. It looks like it's green. To see it's looking through it, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, the 5.0 Mustangs are. I mean, Mexican Spec has one that a bright blue one. I used it on a thumbnail a couple of nights ago. Man, I love that car, but it's outside my price range, sadly. You know, and he'll probably get that for it because it's a pretty nice car, and he knows which one it is. That blue one with the 302 and manual transmission, and it's just a classy looking car. Interiors, everything on that car is nice. Just one of the best ones I've seen. And it's a notchback, which I like. I don't really like the hatchback that much. Although that wouldn't be a showstopper, but what you looking at? It's not showing up on the screen, whatever it is, Kim. You're scrolling through stuff that it's not there. But maybe it's because it's so ugly you don't want it to show up. Yeah. Why are you looking at that?
Who, me?
You were looking at that.
It's only $175 on Copart right now.
Oh, good. I hope they can get it.
It's painted up like the Jurassic Park deal.
It's
I don't understand
got a
how it
big
ended
old
up at
police
Copart.
bumper on it. Yeah, why is that? Maybe it doesn't run or something.
How did it end up at Copart? The interior is not hideous. Probably doesn't run.
Yeah, so auto salvage outlaw. I don't know what that is another nationals. Oh, outlaw. There's no A on the salvage outlaw. Knows finds a lot. He's a Ford guy. Dean Stevenson, Dinosaurus Rex, dinosaurs approved.
Yeah, that's painted like
Yeah, BNR, that's terrible, Kim. That's what I said. Why are you looking at that? And then I said, well, you won't even put it up on the screen, and you put it up on the screen.
I got bored and I started looking at Copart.
See, and you go for you love the junk, the stuff that doesn't run. You got to tow it home and take it apart.
I do.
And
I'm a
I like
dummy.
that kind of stuff, but right now I need a car that you turn the key and it starts, and I can go 1,000 miles in it, without thinking. I got to change the oil and some minor stuff maybe, but it needs to drive. It needs to just like the Mazda. The Mazda was I go out there, start it, and go somewhere, and not think about it because I know it's well maintained and I know I can get where I'm going. Dinosaur pilot. Let's see, can people sell normal cars there and it works because the public can bid from anywhere? Some cars bring a lot of money. I like the novelty seats, but we'll let the neon green go to a Dino movie fan. Dinosaur pilot.
I searched for Fords in the Fox body range, but there's no way to specifically search for Fox bodies because there's like 15 different models. So I just looked those years for Ford, and this came up, and I clicked on it, and he saw that I was looking at it, and then now I'm in trouble. You know,
I do
it
not
needs a
want to.
nice glass top. You're right; it didn't have the glass top, so you can see the dinosaur attacking you.
I don't like.
I didn't say I liked it and I wanted it. It just was interesting to see. I wondered why it was on Copart. Mexican Spec explained that sometimes people sell normal cars. Mexican Spec, does Copart have like a reserve system? Sell a reserve not yet met. Okay. Sometimes maybe they put it up there to see how much they think they can get. That's possible.
Oh, sis, you want another Mazda? I've looked at the other Mazdas. Here's the deal. I bought mine new, and I maintained it, and I used um, Amsoil Signature Series, 100% synthetic, not full synthetic, which is BS. I used, which is actually 100% synthetic base oil. I uh, I did oil samples between oil changes, so I knew what kind of shape the additives were in. I knew if there was any fuel contamination, and I maintained it like that. Then I go look at Mazdas now, and they're to the point where what they're giving me is not enough to buy them. I'd have to add money to it. They got like 160,000 miles on them or 200,000. Mine had 120. So, and maintained like the way I maintain it. So if I go get one that's, let's say, got 160,000 miles on it, the same year mine was, I got an 8-year-old car with 160,000 miles on it. No clue how it was maintained. It might have the original oil in it from the day it was built. I don't know. I don't want to, and it's all that electrical stuff that somebody, who knows what they did. It's like, nah, I'm gonna get something that when I open the hood, I can see the ground under it, and it's easy to get at everything. And um, I just gotta find the right one, and I can do that. It's just I gotta be patient. What your model was your car, Buff? Also, what model? It was a Mazda 6. It was a 2016 Mazda 6. What was it called? There's a name for that. I don't know. You know models better than I do. What were the models for the 2016 Mazda? 6. Uh, I can't remember. My memory sucks. Um, I don't know. They had different names for different trim levels. I'd recognize it if I saw it. Um, had 120,000 mile on it. It was I don't know. They said when they did the appraisal on it, they said it was in excellent condition. Well, it was. So yeah. No, I don't want another. If yeah, no, I don't want another one. It's just not the right car for me anymore. That Mazda was great because I could, because I maintained it so well from the day it was new, and I get in and drive it from here to Oregon and not think about it, or drive from Oregon back to here, or go from here to Arizona, wherever I went, I just cruise in it. And it was guaranteed 37 miles a gallon, even if I took it kind of a little rough. If I put 100% gasoline in it, it'd get 41. And but that fuel is more expensive. It never paid off. It would actually cost me more to do that. They're doing anywhere from 10 to 14K there US dollars. Yeah, I can't do that. Yeah, it's get what I get. Um, and I'm getting excited about doing probably a Fairmont of some sort, Fairmont or Zephyr, and I'll just have to be patient, find the right one. They're around, you know. I found one that looked really good, and then I ended up on the phone with the guy, and he started telling me how his neighbor had painted, his neighbor rebuilt the engines, neighbor rebuilt the transmission. Telling me all this stuff, and I'm thinking, why did they do all that? Well, it was an area that probably has rust, and you know what they did? They covered everything up, and it's like, that's not the right one. What year Ford Fox Mustang had the Recaro bucket seats? I remember them now. Mexican Spec will know all that. He's like a encyclopedia with used cars, especially from that era because he was so involved with cars ever since the 80s, I guess. 80s, 90s, 2000, well, 80s up till now. That was the SVO, I think, which came out in 84. See, I told you. He'd know. The front end, the grill, and the way the front end looks on the 84, I really like that look. But I like the earlier one too, like the one that's up on the screen, the 79, 80, 81, 82. And I did an 80 conversion from it was black and it was a notchback from 4-cylinder Pinto engine to it was a 4-speed to a 302 and automatic. Man, did that car turn out good. Put some money in the engine, so it was a really good engine. Rebuilt C4. Man, that car I built it for a friend, and he drove that thing till it had over 100,000 miles on it. Eventually sold it. I mean, 100,000 since I put the engine in it, and he loved that thing. Oh, it says Recaros with the fishnet headrest. You're in the 80s. I know I'm old because I think of the 80s as being newer stuff. The 80s I remember when 1980 came. I was on a trip in where the hell was I? I was in Wyoming, I think, or maybe dropping into Utah, going across I-80. And it's like, wow, it's 1980 because 1980 to me was always like way out in the future. It's like so in my mind, it's kind of like pre 1980 and after 1980. But I know I got to get out of that thought process because 80 is a long time ago now.
Yeah, it is.
Man, I can't believe it's like 40. Well, the 2025 cars are out, so it's 45 years ago in the car world. Man. Well, Kim, what are you doing? You're making something to eat?
Yeah.
I think it's time to say goodnight.
Okay,
Starting,
I'm burning out,
yeah,
so
and the
yeah.
chat's slowing down, and I think we've discussed fox bodies to the limit.
To the umpteenth degree.
Yep.
Mexican Spec, thank you for being here. You were here the whole time as our moderator. We really appreciate it. Check out Mexican Spec on YouTube and Instagram for some cool car pictures, or if you're looking to purchase a Mexican Spec automobile to be imported into the United States. He's your guy to help you with that. Thank you for being here again, Mexican Spec.
What's for dinner?
I am making tortilla shells, and I'm going to put sour cream and cheese because I don't have any meat to stuff in them. So it's just like a light, very light dinner.
There's hot dogs.
I don't think I
That
would
wouldn't
put
look.
a
That
hot
wouldn't be
dog
good.
in there,
And
but maybe we'll have hot dogs later.
That wouldn't be good. Good tacos.
We know what
Hot dog tacos.
Buff Del Campo's eating.
No.
Sounds like hot dogs. So everyone, Dirt Road Landing, Mrs. One-Eyed Cat, Olive, everyone who has commented and participated this evening, we appreciate you. We enjoy this very much, and we'll do it again next Tuesday. We will be in the shop this weekend, sometime around Thursday, Friday, Saturday, most likely, and we will put up a notification as early as possible when we know that we're going to do that. But there's some things that just don't live stream well. If I got to do a lot of grinding or cutting or fabrication work, which I do, it doesn't make for good live stream content. So like we got to get work done sometimes. We can't just sit and talk. So we'll probably need to take a couple days off and get some things caught up. But we'll be back starting at like around 10 p.m. later in the week. Anything else to say?
Mrs. One-Eyed Cat just got done cutting my hair. Wait a minute. You cut Don's hair and then you cut your own hair. He doesn't cut your hair for you? I mean, that should be... Oh, you must have some mirrors or something around.
I got to get my food before it burns.
Don't let your food... Okay, you come back here to shut us down.
Hello to everybody until my food is saved from burning.
Oh, and Mrs. One-Eyed Cat says she'll be off this weekend, so maybe she'll show up.
Okay.
All right.
So everybody, thank you again. Adios is the word. And we will be back next Tuesday, and we will be around for the Late Late Show at 10. Almost certainly on Friday and Saturday. It seems to be our routine.
Yeah, whatever happens.
We'll be working on the Dart, trying to get the engine together and put back in so we can move on with our projects. So thank you, everyone, and we'll see you next time.
Take care. Good night.